Hey everybody, this is a revamping of an old show that we had going on. You might remember Kyle and Vince Go to the Movies. Our local movie theater shut down because of COVID, so I don't know the next time I'm going to be able to sit down in a theater with Kyle. So we wanted to revamp the show and bring it back in a new way, and this is what we're now calling Kyle and Vince Like Things.
Yep.
Because of how positive we were towards the Sonic movie and how positive we feel towards The Last of Us 2. Kyle, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hey everybody, special guest Kyle here. Yeah. So we wanted to do this because we like Last of Us a lot.
And I don't understand why people don't. I get it and I don't. But before we go into anything, I just want to say real quick, there will be some footage and some screenshots on screen of footage that I've taken, footage that Kyle has taken. I haven't been taking screenshots. I don't think I have, but I have been taking some video, some gameplay, some, what's it called? Some cutscene stuff. So I just want to let everybody know that there will be a large amount of spoiler talk. We will do a small segment with no spoilers like we always do, and then we'll go right into massive spoiler discussion. So if I have any video or he has any video that we can kind of parse through that I can show now, it'll probably start now, but there will be a spoiler warning popping up somewhere, and then from that point throughout the rest of the video, we will be discussing the game and its story and its spoilers. So Kyle,
Yep.
My question to you, without spoiling anything, if you could sum this game up in 3 words to a sentence long, what would you say about it? And to give you a second to think, I would like to just say that I loved this game. I absolutely adored it. I told somebody this is the game that justified my PlayStation purchase. And it only took until the year the PS5 is coming out. It's a game where I bought the special edition of it. I didn't buy the Ellie statue, and I'm not going to lie to you, I did look up to see how much they're going for.
Yeah.
But I didn't buy that. When I went to GameStop to pick it out, I saw that the guy had a stack of games there, and I said, "Is that the special edition with the hardcover, the steelbook?" And he goes, "Yeah." I go, "All right, give me that." So even though I spent the extra money on the game, I enjoyed it even more. Like I would have paid $80 for this game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because, like, with Red Dead, when I bought that, as people may or may not know, I bought the Steelbook edition, and I didn't feel like it was worth it. But this, I feel like it was worth it. But I hope they gave you enough time. 3 words, a sentence.
I could just say 3 words right away. Game of the year.
Yeah? Really?
Game of the year. Yep.
Wow. Did you know Metacritic right now, it's the second highest game that came out this year?
Yeah.
With a 94. You know what has a 95?
What?
Persona.
Really?
I don't know which... Persona 5 or 3 or something? There's a Persona that came out this year that has a 95 or a 96,
Royal.
and this is a 94 or 95.
Yeah, Royal.
What's that?
It's Persona 5 Royal.
Yeah, that sounds about right. That is the...
Yeah, I don't know. I gotta remember what it was, but it was... I think Neil Druckmann said this game had more score or something like that than Last of Us 4 and... Not Last of Us 4, Uncharted 4 and the other one or something like that, combined. Speaking
of Neil, I wanted to just kind of give this while we're here. It's developed by Naughty Dog, published by Sony Interactive Entertainment. It was designed by Andy Newman, Kurt Mangue, I'm going to say that wrong, and Neil Druckmann, Hallie Gross, and it was written by Neil Druckmann and Hallie Gross. The artists are Eric Palganati, Nate Wells, and Kenneth Seo. Was composed by Gustavo I'm not good with names. Santorala and Mao Quayle. I butchered everybody's names and I apologize, but they made a fantastic piece. of art. Neil Druckmann has been given an incredible amount of backlash from this, which, without spoiling anything, how do you feel about it? Do you feel like it's well deserved? Do you feel like some people, the people who aren't just hating for sport, the people that are genuinely upset with the game, do you think they have any sort of merit? Do you think they have any sort of pertinence?
I think some people do. I think some people who actually bring in like good criticism and discuss it do. But if you're just going, oh, screw this game, and just seeing a leak of it, then you shouldn't have an opinion on that.
Yes, I agree with you. I think it's kind of like watching a movie out of context. You know what I mean? Like when you just take a clip of a movie and say this is it, and you're like, well, that's shit.
Yeah.
Like if you take this scene out of The Shining where he walks past the room and there's like the dog and the person making out, you'd be like, I never want to watch this, and then you'd miss a great movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's really hard to dance around spoilers with this game.
Yeah. There a lot of big stuff happened that probably a lot of people know by now.
Yeah, and the only thing that I can kind of say that isn't a spoiler is the game picks up like immediately after the first one ends. And then everything after that I think is a spoiler.
Yeah.
So do you want to just get right into it?
Yeah.
Cool. I fucking love this game, Kyle. Oh my god. I think everything in this game is justified.
Yeah.
I think everything Ellie does is justified. I think everything Abby does is justified. I didn't like Abby. I didn't mind playing as her. The only criticism I have is that the playing of Abby is just a little too long, but by the end of it, I understood her. I understood her motives. I understood the themes better, to the point where I'm replaying it now, and I just got to Abby's part, like, you know where the boat is, not the boat in the aquarium, but the boat that you find, that you have to like when Mel's pregnant and Manny's outside. I'm there, and they show the flashback to when her dad died, and I was like hurt, and I was like, what the fuck? Like I care about this character, and I don't care about this character. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Sorry, I needed to gush. I have nobody else to talk about this with. There's one kid at work who's like still working on it, and Olive, I don't want to ruin it for her because we just got done finishing the first one, but
it was a story. It was a really good story.
Okay, the game opens up, and it starts with Joel and Tommy sitting in a house outside of Jackson, Wyoming, just talking about what had happened. And Joel kind of confesses to Tommy, and he's like, hey, I did something fucked up, and I realize it's fucked up, and I feel bad about it, and I know that it's selfish, but I did it. And Tommy's just like, yeah, it's cool. I get it. And then you go to... I loved seeing Jackson.
Yeah.
Which I wanted to ask you. We're apparently getting an HBO The Last of Us show, right?
Yeah.
I don't know how they want to approach it, but I think the best thing for them to do is just kind of do Jackson.
Yeah, I can see them doing that, because if they want to do Joe and Ellie, it would be in that gap of like where we see flashbacks, you know?
Yeah. I could definitely see that, like, because it shows that, and I don't know the exact years that it happens. I want to say it's 2 years. Joel and Ellie get into that. Oh no, it's right before the game starts, where Joel. Well, kind of. It's 2 years before the game starts, but then it's right before the game starts where Joel and Ellie are going through a huge fight, and then all of a sudden they're like, she's like, I need to be friends with Joel.
Yeah.
And I think it'd be interesting to see that, but I also think having Joel and Ellie be background characters would be a little more interesting.
Yeah, that would be to see the world a little bit more.
I want to see Jackson. I want to know how Jackson works. I want to know how Jackson trades with people. I want to know how they take care of clickers. Like, I want to know everyone else in Jackson that wasn't talked about. I want to know what they're doing.
Yeah.
So it starts off, and you kind of get introduced to Dina, and I thought Dina moved a little quick, to be honest with you. Because as far as we know, she's with Jesse, and then all of a sudden she's just making out with Ellie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I didn't understand like the timeline. Of course, the flashbacks kind of help that Dina and Jesse and Ellie kind of more or less grew up together.
Yeah.
But I think we just keep dancing around the biggest thing.
Yeah, the big thing. Well, let's talk
How do
about
you feel
before that.
Okay.
Okay. You play as Ellie, and then you wake up.
Well, you play as Joel.
You play as Joel.
You play as Joel, and I think that's really powerful.
Yeah.
That, like, especially what happens later, like, you think back and, like, and I watched something and I didn't even think about it. When, you remember in The Last of Us 1 where Joel falls on that rebarb?
Yeah.
Rebarb, the
rebar.
Reinforced, thank you.
Yeah.
And Ellie's trying to get him out of there, and she goes,
getting attacked, yeah.
And she goes, if we get out of here, you're going to sing to me, or I'm going to hear you sing. When they get to Jackson, he like goes away and he goes back to the shed. It's got to be like a day or two later. Like, it's not like it's that day. Unless it is, I don't know. Maybe it is, because it feels like it's like as soon as the first game ended, this one started.
Yeah.
When he sits down and sings to her, that's him being like, "I'm singing to you." Like, I loved seeing in the first game this guy who lost his daughter, who was a total hard ass, who did foul shit to do foul shit to get through it. And something else that I don't think gets addressed enough, and I'm sorry that we keep fucking getting away from the big thing, but Joel ran away from the military with Sarah, his daughter, and Tommy. That soldier shot Sarah and was going to shoot Joel, and Tommy came and saved Joel's life. And in The Last of Us 1, you hear that Tommy and Joel had a massive falling out, and I really genuinely think it was because Joel knew somewhere deep in his mind that if his brother would have let him die by that military man, he didn't have to live the next 20 years without his daughter.
Yeah.
That him and his daughter could more or less be together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think it's super fucking powerful that when Tommy comes back, or when Joel goes to Tommy and he kind of like makes up with him, that even in those last few minutes when he says to him, he's like, look, I did something bad, that Tommy understands, that Tommy gets it. And he says to him, he goes, I won't say a word to this to anybody, Joel, but if it was me, I can't say I wouldn't do the same.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's a lot of like things about certain moments and stuff like that can mean so much.
And there's also, and we'll get into this later, there's so many parallels to both Ellie and Abby's story.
Yeah.
And I think it's such a neat way to explore what trauma does to a person. So let's go through the trauma. The big thing happens.
Well, before that, we should say
that
when you do play, at a certain point you play as this new character in the snow. And you don't know who these characters are. They're looking for somebody in Jackson, and they need to get in.
I don't even think they say that.
They do.
I just think they say they're looking for something.
They're looking for somebody, and they're also then at Jackson. Like, they're on the cusp of Jackson, looking down at it. And you go off as this character. She sneaks away from the rest because they don't want to get in because it's heavily fortified, so you don't know what's going on. And you play as her for a while, and you run into Joel. Oh, no, you run into Joel and his brother, and you're running from a massive horde of clickers. Like, oh my god.
How fun is that, too?
Was so crazy.
The first time I played that, I felt my hands like grip my controller and my chest get like tight.
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't playing on, like, this game is difficult on normal.
Yes.
And it's not like overbearingly difficult, but it's like your shots matter.
Yeah.
And I'm playing it now, but I'm going for the platinum now, so I'm playing it on an easier difficulty so I can find all the cards and everything. And it's not easier, but it's not harder. Like, I don't know how to, there's just more stuff out there.
Easy,
like, it's easier to find ammo. What do you mean?
Like how normal's kind of like the hard. Easy's probably like the normal.
Okay, yeah, kind of. It's, I mean, So okay, yeah, Joel, Tommy, and the new person who they later reveal to be a woman named Abby. And I really like that the first time you get introduced to Abby, it doesn't say her name; it says Woman One.
Yeah, all the subtitles, you customize stuff like that. So I have them customized, but yeah, it just says like Woman One, Man One.
Yeah, there is 60 different sliders that you can interact with. That I read something that if you're blind, you can probably play this game.
Yes, there's. I think Troy Baker responded to it, but there's a YouTuber. I think he's blind, and he teared up and everything. He made a video about like how much accessibility there is in this game for disabled.
That's awesome. That's so cool. Like, it's something that I would have never thought of, as like blind people want to play video games. You know what I mean? I would have just been like, oh, the blind just don't play video games or watch movies, but of course they do. And there's also people that are blind that aren't completely blind but are blind.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, they're legally blind, but they can still kind of see color and shit. And there's an option for that, where the whole game is gray except for the bad guys and collectibles and shit, which I think is fucking so cool.
Yeah. Awesome.
All right, so sorry.
No, but
it hurts to talk about
it. Yeah. So big horde of clickers and infected chasing you. You go back to this group with this the girl that you kind of met all these other characters with, and you get taken down.
Wait, I want to point something out. Sorry to cut you off.
No, good.
Joel and Tommy go back to the mansion, right?
Yeah.
And Tommy goes, "You guys have been here a long time, haven't you?" And they're like, "Yeah, about 2 weeks or whatever at this point." And Tommy goes, "You should come back to Jackson before you go, and we'll get you some supplies and we'll send you on your way." And he goes, "I'm Tommy, and this is my brother Joel." And everybody like backs up, and Joel goes, "Why do you guys act like you've heard of us before?"
Yeah. Sorry. And yeah, so even in that moment too, like the facial expressions and like the expressions on all the other characters around when they hear Joel's name, they drop. Like, if you look at the lady on the couch, like she has her knee on her leg on her knee, and like she slowly puts down and like kind of moves up a little bit. And then you see Abby, this woman who you'll later find out is Abby, has a shotgun, shoots Joel in the leg, completely. Like, Joel's leg's gone at this point. Like, there's no point.
How fucking gruesome. There's sinew. Like, I remember going, "What the fuck? How are we getting out of this one?"
Yeah.
Like, how? What do we gonna get rid of Joel's leg? Like, I knew we weren't gonna be pulling punches, but fuck.
Yeah, and he goes down. They take Tommy. They knock him out. They bash him on the head, knock him out.
And how fucking brutal was that? He hits him with the gun like 19 times.
Yeah. They grab him. They pick him up backwards, so you see his leg. Like, it must. Oh, it was so like the way they picked him up.
It's connected by the back of like the pocket of his knee, like the back part of his knee. Like, you know what I mean? Like, one good tug and his leg would have came off.
Yeah. They put him against like the wall. They hold him down, and then Abby kneels down, and Joel's like, "Who are you?" And Abby's like, "I forgot what it was. It was like, you know who I am." And then she says his full name.
I didn't know Joel had a last name.
Yeah, she says Joel Miller, and then he's like, "Who are you?" And she's like, "Guess." And then I don't know if he realized or not, or he's just like, "Oh, you're just somebody after me, a bad guy."
I think he just realized somebody was after him, but he does say the most badass line ever. He goes, whatever speech you have rehearsed, just get it over with and kill me already.
But it's not that easy, and Abby wants to take her time. They turncoat his leg so he can stay alive more. And she picks up a classic BioShock weapon, a golf club, and it cuts black as like a hit gets hit, and you're back playing as Ellie.
Yeah, and you run as Ellie into the mansion, and she runs down the steps, and she's got her gun drawn, and she's seeing she sees a bloody Joel. She sees a battered, destroyed, bloody Joel. And they grab her and they pin her down. And then I just started to cry like a bitch. Like, I hearing Ellie go, Joel, get up, get the fuck up right now, and her screaming and crying that she's gonna kill these people for what they're doing to Joel. Like, and mind you, I just got done playing the first one a week ago. It is fucking fresh in my memory. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, what the fuck? And then Abby just kind of fucking bashes him in the head.
Good old Negan style.
Yeah. And like,
in the audio too, we got to talk about the audio in that part, because as Joe like, dies, you just hear like the noise in her ear. It's just like everything's happening and she's just screaming. You can't hear the other characters talk, but something's going on. Like they're having an argument with each other too.
Yeah.
And then one of them kicks you in the face and you're knocked out. And then Dina finds you later with Jesse.
And fuck, I have like it fucking hurt, man. It fucking hurt. Like, I have no other way to say it. It hurt me. And I'm happy that it hurt me. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, I'm happy that this had such an emotional impact on me, because I just couldn't. I knew it was going to happen. I didn't think Ellie was going to be so helpless.
Yeah.
I felt like Ellie. I understood Ellie right there. And the game kind of told you instantly in that moment what her hatred was. Like, it personified her hatred that she kind of kept inside of her, the flame of hate that she kept inside of her. It told you that and explained it to you without having to go through all of the backstory.
Yeah.
Without having to go through all the flashbacks. And what fucking killed me the most is when you wake up and you go to Joel's house.
Mm-hmm.
And you walk through Joel's house and you look at the picture of him and Sarah, and she goes to the jacket and she smells the jacket, and then she goes to the box on the bed and she grabs the watch that Sarah gave him 25 fucking years ago.
Yep.
And like, the thing that sucks the most, once you've had a family member die, is that you have to go through all their shit. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's a bunch of shit that sucks about it, but like, it feels like somebody's life gets quantified into what you can fit in this box.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And to watch Ellie walk through the house and pick through things and kind of mull over what's there and look at pictures of Tommy and Joel and try to smell the jacket, I was like, oh God, somebody who fucking wrote this part has been through some shit. Like, they got it. And it felt very intimate. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And this is the first time in a game where a character died and I went, no, he's coming back. Like, I sat there and fought with it. Like, I went through all of the fucking stages of grief in minutes. I was like, no, he's coming back. Like, it's The Last of Us 2. Like, Joel's coming back, right? Like, it was just this. And then Ellie's like, as soon as it happens, Ellie's like, I'm fucking going after him.
Yeah. Before.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, before that.
Sorry.
There's also a lot of a lot of people I've seen when that happens, like, they quit the game, they gave up, they're like, nope, not doing this anymore, and stuff like that. But there's also a lot of people like, oh, Joel wouldn't do that, he would, and it's like, from what a lot of like things about talking about it, like, Joel and his brother have been living there for like 4 years. They've been comfortable
in Jackson.
Yeah. No,
Tommy's been there for longer.
Well, Tommy, yeah.
Remember in the first one, he's like, we're trying to get the hydroelectric dam.
Yeah, it's about like maybe 4 or 5 years. What, Joel?
For Joel and Ellie, I think it's 5 years after.
But they've been living comfortable. They've been living secure, safe. You know, like they didn't have to be out in the world and like, oh, who are these people?
There's a part where Ellie says to Dina when she first got to Jackson, she just kept eating.
Yeah.
She's like, I never thought I'd see this much food again.
Yeah. So
she was like, I was stealing jerky.
Yeah.
Why do I have to steal it? I live here.
Yeah. So it was like when people were like, oh, Joel won't do this. It's like, Joel's been comfortable for how long? Like, he didn't. That's why they're like, oh, why don't you come and supply up? You know, like, they're not. They've been comfortable. Like, they're not on the guard. Like, somebody also said that, like, at that moment when Joel's like, why do you look at me? That he realized he's like, oh, I left my guard down.
Oh, I didn't even think of it like that. Like Joel realized I got soft.
Yeah, I let my guard down.
And I mean, Ellie did that to him.
Yeah,
in a good way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Here's a man who every second of every day he hated because the world ripped him from his daughter.
Mm-hmm.
And now, like, in the beginning of the game, in the beginning of The Last of Us 1, this always gets me. In the beginning of The Last of Us 1, when he has Sarah and he's trying to keep her alive, he keeps saying, like, come on, baby girl, don't die on me, or don't do this to me, or something like that. And then at the end of The Last of Us 1, when he's picking up Ellie off the table, he calls her baby girl.
Yeah.
And it's like you fuck, it's like he put his, and I love that you never hear Joel tell her that he loves her.
Yeah.
But he loves her. And he even says to Tommy, he's like, or he maybe even says it to Ellie, I don't remember. He says it to somebody, he goes, I got a second chance, and I didn't want to lose that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
You see Joel being all happy and playful in the beginning, and then he's just like, this is what I gotta do. And then you see him in the second one, and it's like, I'm happy and playful, but this is also what I gotta do. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And then, oh fuck, this game is so good. I saw something that said, it was on, I'm gonna bring this up, and I probably shouldn't, but I'm gonna. The Last of Us 2 Reddit is nothing but nitpicks.
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned. And they had a thing where there was a picture of, like, the board that linked the story together, and they had, for when Joel's leg gets blasted off, it said bye-bye leg, lol, and they were like, they had no respect for Joel when they wrote this. And my first thought was, Joel's not real?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Joel's a character.
Yeah. Plus,
like,
watching, like, Troy and them also talk about it, like, they gave these characters respect, like, when doing the performance and everything like that. Like, this is also it is a post-apocalyptic world, you know, like, there's no happy endings.
Yeah.
Like,
that's what I love about it.
A character's not going to get a hero's death, you know?
But that's the other thing I wanted to make sure we brought up. Joel's not the good guy.
Oh, absolutely not.
Joel was never the good guy.
There are no good guys in this world.
No. I mean, and you learn that by the end of the game, too, which we'll get to. But, like, from the first game, Joel... And I saw one argument that said Joel deprived the world of a vaccine, but who was to say that the Fireflies wouldn't have taken that and used that only for themselves and sold it and then made, like, a whole new problem, right?
Yeah.
Sure, fine, but the cure would still be out there.
It would.
There would be hope. You know what I mean? There could be a rogue agent who could go in from the Fireflies and say, hey, this is... like, I know where to get it. We can get it. We can spread it. We don't have to charge people. We'll make it like the fucking polio vaccine. Like, Joel killed Ellie without killing Ellie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, she has to go, presumably, the rest of her life never knowing that she's the walking cure, and the only person who could do it is now dead because of Joel's selfishness.
Yep.
Shit, I kind of feel like we're all over the place and in one spot at the same time, and this is such a long game.
Let's bring it back.
All right.
We should talk about one part, because one part was pretty funny.
What's that one part?
It's where the snowstorm happens and you and Dina get into the library.
Oh, yeah. This is before Joel's death.
And you find, I forgot what the guy's name is, but he was at Jackson and he'd passive old age. Emmett? No, not
Was it Emmett? Hold on. I got the wiki in front of me.
Might have been Emmett.
No.
Or no, I think Emmett was the old guy. Eugene.
Yep.
Eugene was, you find out that he was a Firefly from his personal belongings, but you find a area down below and it's just filled with weed plants.
It's just weed and porn.
Which is funny because that's the funniest Easter egg, is that there's like a porn collection of like VHSs, and one of them is called Smash Brandy's Cooch.
And I love when you go to the radio tower, there's just a bong.
Yeah, and then you find like the freaking gas mask bong that he made too down there.
Yeah. Okay, so I should have said this beforehand. I bought the game earlier than I expected to buy it because my brother called me. Or no, I saw my brother that day and he was like, "It's the best game I've ever played." He's 12. He's like, "It's the best game I have ever played." And my brother loved The Last of Us 1. When he got his PlayStation, I let him borrow the game. And before I let him borrow the game, he used to play it on my PlayStation and he would beat it and then just replay it and just keep doing that over and over again. And then when it was a free game on PlayStation Plus, he downloaded it and he would borrow it periodically before that just to play through it again. And he came into my room and he was like, "This is the best game I've ever played." And like his eyes started to tear up because he was thinking about everything that had happened so far. And I was like, "All right, we got to go get it." And we jumped it like that second. I like showered, threw new clothes on, and I was like, "We're going to get it." And I don't remember what I was. Oh, so when you find the bong, I was dying, and my brother's like playing with me, and he didn't get it, like he didn't know. And I was like, "Ha!" And I was like, because you can like wiggle it. You know, you can like wiggle objects that you pick up like it's L.A. Noire. and he was like, "What are you laughing at?" I was like, you can wiggle the thing, and it's funny to me. Yeah, Eugene was fucking... I think it's cool that they found the weed and then they smoked the weed because, like, that's what a 19-year-old would do.
Yeah. Plus... You
know what I mean?
They also had... Something happened that we don't see yet, that Ellie kissed her at a party and stuff like that. So there's kind of building on this relationship too. That because you find out
if you saw the E3 trailer, you saw it.
Yeah. Plus, you find out in Left Behind that Ellie is gay. She's a lesbian.
Yeah.
And
which,
go ahead.
I think that's a big reason why people didn't like the game, honestly, because I kept seeing that it's like, "Oh, how come you got to keep throwing politics in the game?" And I was like, is this just because you can't sexualize her? Is that why? Because she's not like Lara Croft? You know what I mean? Like, it was just like, because Ellie doesn't have big fucking mammary glands and a short fucking pair of shorts. You know what I mean? Like, it was like Ellie is... And I like that. Like, I like that it's not just, like, titties hanging out and fuck... You know what I mean? Like, it's respectfully done. It's not just, like...
Yeah.
If I gotta be looking at the screen for 25 hours, I might as well be looking at something hot. Which is fucking a big reason why I think people are upset about Abby. But we'll get to that later.
We'll get to that. Yeah, that's also a big thing.
But I like how... I'm a sucker for any time you get to play as a girl in a game. I'll play the game just based on that. Like, what's it called? What's that fucking Sucker Punch game that isn't Ghost of Tsushima?
Infamous?
Electric. Yes. The one Infamous, after the first one, you just get to play as a girl, and I played that one because you get to play as a girl.
It was the Infamous first Second
DLC.
Son expansion thing, standalone thing, which was also... Which is also funny, because I saw this. That's Laura Bailey doing the voice of her, and they're also in Seattle.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. It was a PlayStation Plus game, and I played it because, one, I like Infamous, and two, anytime I see a woman as the main character, I want to play it because it's a different perspective. I've been a white male my whole life. You know what I mean? If I could be a white or any other color woman as a different perspective, it's interesting to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I do. I when sometimes, like, Mass Effect per se, I love playing femshep instead of maleshep.
Yeah.
And, like, some games just feel better as a female character.
Yeah, I used to make female characters just because in most games where you can customize your character, they always had more clothing options.
Yeah.
Like, the guy would get, like, 4 shirts and the girl would get, like, 9. So I was like, all right, let me do that then. Okay, where the fuck are we, Kyle?
All right, we just did Joel's house. So Ellie's on a path of, like, we gotta go. And Tommy's like, listen, I don't know about this. You know, we don't know how much they're gonna be, where they're at. but then you find out like Tommy left. Tommy's like, lock Ellie up, don't let her go. I'm going for revenge.
And I like how Tommy's wife Maria is just like, I could lock you up, but I know you're gonna go, so just go. And Dina's just like, if you're going, I'm going.
Yep. And
simple as that.
The fun part begins of like how beautiful. Oh my god.
Oh my god, this game is immaculate.
Holy crap.
Dude, I have a 4K TV, right?
Yeah.
But I have an older What PlayStation model do you have?
I have like the original one that came out, so
I got mine 2014, I want to say, 2013?
I think same.
And I think yeah, because you had yours before mine, and I remember when I got mine, I was still in school.
Yeah.
And I'm playing this game going, how the fuck is this running on a non-PS Pro? Like, my TV's 4K, but the PlayStation only puts out at 1080.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I'm like, how the fuck?
I'm surprised too, because my PlayStation, I have it for so long that when I run some games, it's a jet engine. Red Dead 2, it's just a jet engine the whole time. This game barely makes a noise. Barely makes a noise. And I'm like, oh my god. It's too
It heats up my room.
It's more gigabytes than Red Dead.
Is it?
Yeah.
Holy shit. This game, it's like, the first playthrough, I was just walking through things. Like, I didn't even care. I wasn't running. I was just like, oh, look at the grass being fucking waist high. Like, I'm just gonna walk through it and the car's quick.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, it looks like what a decent, like, a mid to, like, low high-end rig PC could run.
Yeah. Plus,
it's so optimized.
Yeah, it looks beautiful. And if you include it, there's some videos and photos if you're seeing them.
Yeah, I'll have videos. I might show the same one once or twice or something.
Yeah, I did some scenery
how long
once.
this goes. Yeah, but there should be on screen of combat, and just like the world is so fucking interesting. Like,
yeah,
the invisible walls are perfect because they're just, it's overgrown here.
Yeah. Plus, it's also like a very interesting game to be like, here's an open world space. Go explore. That's the only open world place. And then you have like more other areas that you can like fight and stuff like that, which is interesting to just like, it's a mix of different types of genres.
I don't know if this is the right word for it, but I call it open world linearity because it'll be like the one place that I'm thinking about, it's right before you get the bow with Ellie.
Yeah.
There's like a tattoo shop and
it's kind of like a mini open world in a way.
Yeah, and then there's like a bar that you can go into. There's a veterinarian that you can go into, and all of it can be passed. You don't have to see any of it. Oh, Kyle, pause the fucking tape for a minute. When you first get to Seattle, right?
Yeah.
This is one of those moments that I will think about for the rest of my life in a game. Like, when I think of like big impactful moments, it's the end of Red Dead 1 where you watch John go down. Like Fallout 3 when I first open the vault door and I see the world in front of me. One that I will always remember is when you first get to Seattle and they kind of just give you the map and go, figure it the fuck out.
Yeah.
I felt so overwhelmed. I felt so like I felt like Ellie. You know what I mean? Like, I truly felt like I am in too deep. There is a high probability I will die doing this, but it's what I perceive to be right, and I have to do it. And it's a big open field, and I don't know what's out here, and anything could happen.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, that's one of those where I was just like, what do I do first?
Yeah, I was
and
like...
it wasn't like...
it
wasn't like...
Oh, God, where do I go? I was like, where do I start first? And it's like, because I play a lot of, like, open world, like, I got to collect everything, so, like, where do I begin?
Yeah, and are you... would you say that's your favorite genre is open world?
Yeah, I would say.
That's... I notice with a lot of open world games that... Like, especially with Grand Theft Auto, like, here's a bunch of buildings, but you can't go into any of them. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it was like, if there's a building and it's not completely boarded up, and even if it is completely boarded up, you can probably go in it.
Yeah.
And even if it is completely boarded up, there's a good chance that the building next to it has a way into it. You know what I mean? Like there's a wall that's destroyed that you can crawl through.
Yeah.
Or if you can get on the roof, you can get in. You know what I mean?
They also did a really good job with like telling like the lore of the world was just like the whole bank. Like, oh, it's a bank. Yeah. You find a guy with a shotgun and you read the notes about it. Like, it was like you wouldn't really find that sometimes in like The Last of Us one, where it was just, you just find a note and it's like, oh, okay. But like it was like you went to a bank. Like you could have completely missed that.
Absolutely. Like it's and I like how you would find notes and you would find other things and be like, oh, we got to check this out next. We got to go here. We got to do this.
This is one I don't know if I did in Last of Us 1, but like a lot of games, like I skip over some notes and stuff like that. I read every note.
I've read every single one. Every one. Like I said, I'm in the process of getting the platinum. You have to find all the artifacts. Mm-hmm. So I'm reading all of them. There's one moment where and this one was fucking super impactful to me. You find, and it's like it's a hidden area. You don't have to do this. You find a little apartment alcove, and there's a body laying there, a skeleton, and there's a note, and I pick the note up. And the note was something along the lines of, my wife is pregnant, and I got ambushed by the WLF, which we'll get into later, and I was at the hospital, and I took this medicine. And then it's saying something like, the Seraphites got me, which we'll get into later, and I don't think that I'm going to make it. And if my wife finds me, don't name the baby after me. Use the name that we chose. And then I went and I picked up all the pills that, like, you could take the pills to upgrade yourself. And Ellie goes, I'm sorry to do this, but I need this more than you do right now.
Yeah. And you can then also find the pregnant lady.
Yeah.
Body. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just like these little things about the world that just draw you in. And like if I would have picked up the pills first and then read it, I would have been like, how do I put these back? Yeah. You know what I mean? But
yeah, the biggest to me, like probably my favorite part in this game is finding the music store, which is you can completely miss. You pick up the guitar and there's like a little cutscene and stuff like that where Dina's sitting down there and you like play which is also another really cool thing in this game is like when you pick up a guitar you can strum it and like switch your chords, and like I've seen videos of like people making a full song out of all of that.
Someone did Through the Fire and the Flames.
Yeah. But Ellie starts playing Take On Me. Yeah. And it's like, and you're just sitting there watching this happen. And it's like, oh my God.
And it's the human moments.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like in The Last of Us 1, the giraffes. And that's what I loved about the giraffe moment is you can just sit there for as long as you want and watch it.
Yeah.
And it's another giraffe moment. Kyle, we're fucking only in the first fucking 4 hours of the game.
Yeah, so Seattle, beautiful. You're looking for Tommy.
You're looking for Tommy, and you know that Tommy's been taken, or I'm not sorry, he's not been taken. He's out there, and he's hunting down other WLF members, which you later come to find out that the WLF is the Washington Liberation Front, and it's comprised mostly of people that were from Washington at the time, from Outbreak Day, and also some of the Fireflies have defected once the Fireflies kind of fell apart to the WLF. And that's where Abby and her crew come from. They're all originally Fireflies.
Yep. So you're kind of hunting the wolves that they like to call them.
Yeah. And then there's the Seraphites, or the Scars, which I don't ever remember reading why they call them Scars, but they're the cult that is fucking not talked about enough, I think, but we'll get to that later. Ellie's on a warpath. Ellie's out for blood.
Yeah. You find in one of the hotels where the wolves have left, like there's a person sitting in a chair tied up, and then there's a person on another chair on the ground tied up with like blood written on the floor. And you see, like, I knew going in, like, oh, I know what this is. And Ellie explains to Dina, like, Tommy did this. This is what Joel taught us. Which is from the first game where Joel took two prisoners. I forgot what it was. The one prisoner points to something on the map, doesn't say it, points it, and he goes and confirms it with the other person. And if somebody's lying,
I don't remember that.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly how it went, but it was kind of something like that, where you don't kind of say it, but you would point to it. But yeah, you find one of the guys who was there that killed Joe. Well, he didn't kill Joe, but they were there with Joe. One of the guys was there, so one of them's dead already.
There's a number of people, I want to say like 9, that are going after Joel. That went after Joel, but Abby being the head, Owen being the second, Mel being there, Manny shows up.
Yeah. You continue on, and your horse gets blown up, which I hate moments like that where it's like, okay, we're fine, and it's like, whew.
Oh, I thought you just meant the horse dying, not the jump scare. I played it on my second playthrough. I was like, oh, it's gonna happen, and then it happened. I was like, oh, I'm scared.
Yeah, it always happens. We know it's coming and it still gets you.
Yeah. And then you get captured by the WLF and you meet, I think his name is Jordan. You wind up killing him. And at this point, Dina was nowhere to be found. I thought Dina switched sides. I thought Dina, once I found out that Dina was pregnant, sorry to take that away from you, but hold on a sec. Once you found out Dina was like pregnant later on, I thought Dina sold out Ellie. And said like, look, let us just go home. And I thought something was going to happen where Dina was like, Ellie, let's just go. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it would have been the end of it. I didn't trust. I remember playing that part with my brother going, I don't trust Dina. And he's like, really? And I'm like, yeah. And then you get to the subway and you get to when Ellie, she goes, and this I didn't even think of. She goes, hey, Ellie, spores, let's put our masks on. And Ellie puts her mask on. I'm like, Ellie, you don't have to put your fucking mask on. It never once occurred to me that Ellie never told anybody.
Yeah, because you also do learn in the scene where they're smoking weed that where Ellie's tattoo is, she acid burned where her bite was. And then tattooed
it. Yeah.
So no one else really knows. And she even says it to Dina, like, oh, I got bit, so I asked her. And Dina's like, no, you didn't. Stop joking around.
Yeah.
But, so you're tied up, and Jordan, I think it was, because you cut him in when you entered in the room with Joel.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, let's not kill them. We got to interrogate him. We don't know how much it is. And Dina comes in, kills the one guy, and she's getting beat up by him, and you break free, stab him neck and stuff like that, and you get information of like of the other girl that like I guess she's dating with. It's like a naked photo of her on Polaroid.
Yeah, what was her name?
Leah.
Yes, something like that. And she's at the TV station. You find out,
and the where everything looks like going into the apartment buildings and see half of it just covered in like vines and like plant life and stuff like that, and just like seeing old TVs and stuff like that. It's so fascinating, this world.
You can find PS3s.
Yeah.
You can find PS3s with the last or Uncharted 2. What's your favorite? Just real quick. What's your favorite Uncharted?
Probably 2.
Yeah, I like 2 the most.
I like 2 because I like a lot of the voice cast, because a lot of the voice cast at the time was from Dragon Age, so like original Dragon Age Origins. So
cool. I just real quick because I really enjoy 2 and I kind of want to play 2 again now that I'm playing this.
Yeah. Yeah. So you head to the TV station.
Oh, I'm sorry. Can I just correct something quick? I apologize. Right now I'm looking at the history of the WLF and I'm reading right here. It says, however, they are willing to let in some outsiders to join them. Notably, former Fireflies Owen, Manny, Abby, Mel, and Nora, because of their training and experience. So I guess the other ones weren't necessarily
Fireflies. They were probably just part of the WLF, and they
Whitney, just Jordan, Leah, Mike. Huh, cool. Sorry. Just super duper neat. And the dogs, Bear and Alice.
Yep. All right. So let's you go to the TV station, you find that whoever was here already was killed and like hung up and like gutted. And the scars.
How fucking cool was that?
That was so creepy and fun.
Okay, I just want to tell you one thing quick about this fight that comes up when you find the map, or not the map. What is it? The radio?
Yeah.
You find the radio and then you're like, all right, we got to go from here. When you do that part on my second playthrough for Ellie, I had the explosive arrows. I went when they first come into the studio. There's 7 people. I know this because you'll understand why. 7 people come in, right? I took out my explosive bow, shot the fucking dude in the middle, and killed 5 of them.
Huh.
And there was blood and guts and sinew all over the room. Wow. Like, the gore in this game is off the fucking charts. Yeah. I sent you that, if I remember, because I'm saying it now, if I remember to do it, if I have the time to do it, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a picture up of the picture I sent you. It's a shitty taken from my phone, but it's because I put a trip mine down, and the dude lost half of his body, and there was just fucking... He turned into, like, a pasty mist.
Yeah. And like... I even told Vince this. I had a hunting rifle, and I was pretty far away, and I shot somebody's arm off with it. Like, the combat is so brutal. And like you can shoot somebody and you can just have them on the ground screaming for help.
And how fucking satisfying is that? Like, not like in a sociopathic, like, I'm gonna kill everybody kind of way, but in the way of like you understand the damage that you're doing. Yeah. Like, you shoot them in the arm and you hear them call. They're like, Garrett, God damn it, Garrett, somebody help me. You know what I mean? Like that, like.
And that was also another big thing that I think a lot of people had problems with. It was like, oh, this game is so brutal. It's like, do you say that because a woman's doing the brutality?
I didn't even think of that.
That a lot of people are saying like, oh, this game's so brutal and stuff like that. It's like, well, you think that because a woman's doing it. You don't actually see that a lot. You see a man doing that. Yeah.
Because when Lara Croft is shooting people, she's just shooting people. Yeah. She's not stabbing them in the neck.
Oh, when Kratos is ripping people's heads off, it's like, oh, just Kratos is ripping people's heads off.
But I think that's mostly because it's from, like, a fictional world.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, if Kratos was in, like, real-life New York and he was ripping people's heads off, like, and this is something that I was upset with, and then I felt a lot better about when I kind of thought about it a little more. When I played it with Olive, the biggest thing that I would always do is pick up a melee weapon, because when you hit somebody in The Last of Us 1, you feel every fucking pound of pressure you throw behind that 2x4 or that bat or what have you. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. When I first swung with Ellie, I went, oh, it's not as powerful. And then I thought, yeah, it's not as powerful because fucking Joel's in his 50s. Yeah. Like, of course it wasn't as powerful, you fucking idiot.
It's powerful when you pick up the frickin' giant war pick.
Oh, the big ice pick thing? Yeah. The Minecraft Stevenator? When you fucking smash them in the chest?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Alright, but let's get back to it.
This game's so good.
You find Leia, she's dead, she's filled with arrows, and you find all the Polaroids of, like, all the group and, like, happy, and you just hear Ellie's, like, look at their effing smiles on their faces.
Yeah.
But, and yeah, continue.
It's a parallel type thing of, like, they're happy, you were happy, like, and you don't know that yet. And that's why I think a second playthrough is so warranted as well, because it's like, if you go back and you know the story of them being happy together, of them being friends, like, Abby's life is Joel in reverse.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah. Joel's the bad guy for what he did after his daughter died. Abby's the bad guy for what she did after her dad died. But, like, you don't think that Joel was justified, and by the end of it, you don't think Abby wasn't justified?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, as much as I don't want to see Joel die, I get it.
Yep.
It's justifiable. It's understandable. It's wrong. And that's what I love about the entire theme of the game, is that, like, just because you do something that you feel like is the right thing to do, it's not always the right thing to do. Like, I don't want to just cop out and say the game's about karma, but the game's about learning a lesson. The game's about sacrifice. The game's about saying, like, if you're going to put it out into the world, expect it back, which I know is a shitty fucking karma thing, and I'm not trying to cop out to that, but you understand what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, if I come to your house, Kyle, and I steal all your sneakers, I can't expect you to not come to my house and take my t-shirts. You know what I mean? Like...
Yeah, it's just an endless cycle of violence, you know. With revenge, it's not always like you'll see it when we get to the part of talking with Abby. Like she had her revenge, and then it was like she wasn't happy.
Yeah. Sorry, where are we story wise? I'm sorry.
All right, so TV station, radio station, whatever TV station. They got that. They know where they're going now.
This part is where they get into the subway.
Yes.
Because they run out of the station, they get into the subway. Dina's like, put your mask on, Spore's up ahead. She puts it on. Eventually the mask cracks and they start running. When they run at that one point, no, I'm sorry, that you get deep into the thing. My first playthrough, I realized there's a point where clickers are walking around. And as clickers are walking around, the WLF starts coming in.
Oh my god, I love this about this.
And I went, hold on, can I fucking do what I think I can do? And I took a brick and I threw it next to the WLF, and all of a sudden the clickers took out all of them for me. Yep. And because they're clickers, I didn't have to fight any. Of course I did, because I want to, but like...
Yeah, that scene right there, I took so many photos of. I sent you a couple of just... It's where the flare is. So I took like the clicker standing there and put like a green hue over it to make it look like radioactive in a way.
There was if I can find it, I might put it on here in the video. I don't know if I have it. It's from The Last of Us 1. It's of Joel getting his jaw ripped apart by a bloater. Like, I paused it at the perfect second because I wanted to get the exact timing of like, because you can just see Joel's like, his cheeks start to... I'm fucking pantomiming like we have video. You can see Joel's cheeks like start to rip and his jaw breaking. If I can find it, if I didn't delete it, I'll put it up here.
Yeah. Was this as well? This I can't remember if this is the same area where we meet our new infected, or no?
We might. The stalkers.
Not those. It's the freaking big ones that like explode. I think it might be. Because I was taking pictures of so there you continuing on through this subway, you do find, I think so. I think it is. Either way, you find a new infected that starts these gigantic like pus things, and like they fall down and just spores everywhere, and you can see like one of the WLFs just like start choking and dying. And like,
this is where, yes, because you go to the one room, and the one room is got one like hung up.
Yeah.
Sorry, go on.
But I hate those things. I hate them. I don't know if they were like they can see you or not, but it was just like I was running in circles throwing Molotovs at them.
Really?
Yeah.
So in this one we have runners, stalkers, clickers, bloaters, shamblers, and the Rat King. We'll get to the Rat King later. This one introduced stalkers and bloaters. Or not bloaters, I'm sorry, shamblers. Which shamblers are a mixture between clickers and bloaters. Also, you find out later, Seattle was hit fucking hard.
Yeah.
Like, Seattle was really, really hit. So, okay. The mask cracks, you run out, you're like, I can't be infected. Ellie's like, I can't be infected. I am immune. I don't get it. The Fireflies were going to help. Didn't work out, right? This is when you find the theater.
Theater, yep.
I don't know if the theater has a name. I'm just going to call it the Cassandra Theater because that's the show that's playing. And then you kind of make that your base, and that's when you find out that Dina's pregnant. How did you feel about this?
I don't know. I like it was kind of like, oh, okay. And it was like, oh, this is probably going to change a lot of things because at the same time, it's probably Jesse's.
Yeah.
And then Ellie, you can see on Ellie as she's like says like, oh, you won't be any use at the moment.
Yeah.
And like how she's just like, oh, I don't know how to deal with this.
I think that there's an interesting thing that I don't think got played into enough. It did and it didn't. Dina's obviously bisexual, right?
Yeah.
Because she's having sex with Jesse, they break up, and now she's with Ellie. But they don't really talk about... They kind of show it briefly of Ellie's jealousy.
Yeah.
Jealousy, if you will. of how she's like... And that's something that I think would have been neat to kind of expand upon of like, I can't give her a baby. Is she going to want to be with Jesse when we get back? Did I just lose my girlfriend? Did I lose a friend? Is this going to hurt us? Are we going to die? What's going to happen? You know what I mean? Like, and then it does the flashbacks. And Kyle... Oh, wait, which flashback is this? Is this the one, the good one, the best one?
I think it's birthday one.
The Hatasaur?
Yep.
Kyle.
So we're 4 years now. We're in the past 4 years during flashback. So we're young Ellie. So they just got, I think, maybe a year or so or a couple months or whatever to Jackson. You're with Joel, and you're going to someplace. Joel's taking you someplace, and you're guessing like, oh, what is it? You know, bunch of stuff, and he pushes you into the water. And like in the first game, you can't swim. Ellie can't swim.
Mm-hmm.
And like you go in, and you're like, oh no, and it's like she can swim then and stuff like that.
I remember going when he pushed her in, she kind of fell in, and then I went, oh shit, she can't swim. And then she like swam to the top, and I went, he fucking taught her how to swim. I was like, oh, he loves her. Is this the first flashback?
Yes.
Are you sure?
I think so, yeah.
So, okay. You wanna tell this because I'm fucking...
Yeah. So you get through and you see a giant T-Rex, and you just hear Ellie like, you got me a dinosaur, and you're at...
Well, you know what's so funny? Not to cut you off, I'm sorry.
No?
But he's like, I got you a birthday present, baby girl. And they're like walking through, and she's like, is it a dinosaur? And he's like, come on. And then she goes, is it a spaceship? And he's like, stop guessing. And she's like, new sneakers. And she goes through like this whole thing.
A bunch of kittens. He's like, oh, litter. She's like, why is it called a litter? He's like, I don't know. It's just called a litter of kin. It's like, that's stupid.
And then
you see the dinosaur, and Ellie's just like, oh my god. And I missed it, but you can climb up top of it.
You can climb the dinosaur
and like jump into the water. I missed that part. I didn't grab that.
I was so excited to be there. I was so in Ellie's mind that I wasn't like, I was so immersed that I wasn't that immersed because that I wasn't, I didn't think to climb the dinosaur. And on my second playthrough, I went, oh, Ellie would definitely fucking climb the dinosaur. Like, and I was like, tell me I can climb the dinosaur, and you can fucking climb the dinosaur, Kyle. You know that Twitter account that's like, you can pet the dog in?
Yeah.
They should have a fucking Twitter account called You Can Pet the Dinosaur, and it's just every day a gif of Ellie climbing the fucking dinosaur.
But
and then you go in.
This is a like not a moment, but like a part of the game where it's like you want to see everything.
Yeah, and I text you. I was like, Kyle, look for hats.
Look for hats. Yep.
I was like, that's all I'm gonna tell you. Look for hats, and you're like, I got it.
Yeah, I got the hat, and you can go to the one with like the phone desk, and she's on the phone, and she's like, "Oh, hello."
Yeah.
It's like, "Oh, I see the dinosaur came in." It's like, Joel, for you.
She goes, get it? Because you're old.
Because you're old.
And that's the thing that I really think they really play well is when they show you young Ellie. Young Ellie's joyful. Young Ellie still has a lust for life. Young Ellie still will banter and make fun of you. When you play as Ellie at 19, Ellie fucking hates everything around her. Because Ellie understands what Ellie could have been and what had been taken away from her. And her own mind, her grandiose thoughts of herself and what the Fireflies could have been will never be realized because of somebody stealing it away from them. You know what I mean? Like, and then you can put a hat on a dinosaur.
You put the hat on every dinosaur, and then that unlocks
the hatasaurs.
Then unlocks the ability to put the hat on Joel.
Yeah, and then you can both have hats. Did you get to the part where you could both have hats?
Yeah, I had both had hats. I love it as well that they were also making Jurassic Park references. And he's like, yeah, the second one's not very good.
he goes, there's a part in the movie where he goes, it's a big mound of shit. Just to hear Joel kind of like have fun. And then she's like, when we get back to Jackson, we got to have a movie night and watch it.
Yeah.
And then
you find the Bronchosaurus, I think it's called. And then like Joel takes, and they're like, it's like almost exact to the giraffe scene in the first one.
Yeah, and that's when I started to cry. and my brother left the room. He goes, "You're gonna cry like a little baby back bitch." And I went, "Why?" And he's leaving my room, and as I'm leaving the room, I go, "It's like the giraffe." And then Ellie goes, "They're kind of like giraffes, huh?" And I went, "Oh, she said the thing about the giraffe."
Yeah.
And then Joel throws the fucking hat on, and I'm like,
Throw the hat on it.
And he says to her, he goes, "I can see the appeal."
See
and I'm
appeal.
like, "Oh my god, he loved her so much."
Yeah, if Joel didn't have the hat, he takes Ellie's and throws Ellie's on top.
Oh really?
Yeah.
That's even cuter.
But then,
Oh my
then
God.
the next scene, you go through.
Oh, you turn
like
that
little
corner.
turn things, and you turn a corner, and it's all space, and you just see Ellie going, "Oh my god."
Kyle, I might cry just talking about this. Oh my god, he fucking takes her and she's like, "Joel, did you know this was here?" And he's like, "I might have saw it." And she's like, "Joel, do you know all the planets?" And she's cranking the thing, and he's like, "My mother just served us 9 excellent pizzas." And like, he's teaching her what he learned 30, 40 years ago. Like,
Yeah.
he's instilling these fatherly qualities into his new daughter.
Yeah.
And
Plus,
like,
Ellie's teaching him because I was it Left Behind or just one that she's like, "I want to be an astronaut when I grow up," or she wanted to be an astronaut.
I never played Left Behind.
You should. That was
I know.
very. Whew.
I meant to play it when I played it with Olive, but we didn't have enough time.
Yeah,
I beat it like the day I left.
Yeah, that would. It's definitely one to play because in Left Behind there's a Halloween store,
Oh, really?
and you put masks on and stuff like that, and you can find a Halloween store before Seattle after that the one workbench in the gas station and stuff like that. And Dina's like, "Oh, look at Halloween stuff," and she's like, not amused by that anymore."
Really? I
Yeah.
remember that. Holy shit! She said something like, "Yeah, that never did much for me."
Yeah.
Is that
what
where
happened?
is that where Riley dies?
Yeah.
Wow. Fuck! I gotta play it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
can I
but-
just
yeah.
gush? Can I just go?
She's like, she loves Faith, so she's even telling Joel stuff that he doesn't even know.
Yeah, like she says, "Hey Joel, you know the first animal to ever go into space was? They were flies or something like that." And he's like, "Did they come back radioactive?" He's like, "No." Fuck. But I like how she goes and she like knows about the Soviet rockets. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, it's not just the U.S. rockets. Like, imagine having to learn. Not that fucking public schools in America are very good, but imagine having to learn when the world is fucked about that. Okay, there's other countries. It's not just the U.S. Really, yeah. And then there's other countries that were perceived as evil during a certain time. Okay, and then they had a name change because they changed their evil ways. Really? Yeah, but everyone still saw them as evil, so it wasn't a huge name change. Go on. That's about it. Like, imagine trying to comprehend that.
Yeah.
And then comprehending that there was a space race. We can barely have clean water or food, but they were racing to get to space. And I love that they show that this is all... Ellie, this is me reading into the character. And maybe I'm reading too deep. But Ellie doesn't feel like she belongs where she is, I think. I think Ellie, her whole life, after she got bit, was kind of told, "You're the cure." And Ellie, just the way her disposition was, is just so different from the way everyone else is, that she kind of was like, I know I'm different. I know that there's something special about me. And at this point, you can still see in Ellie that she's bigger than herself. And when the game starts, Ellie's very grounded. She's very much kind of just like, it is what it is. I do the patrols in Jackson, and that's it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yep. So to see, and then you get in the rover. And you get in the rover, and Joel's like, "Where's the steering wheel?" And she's like, "Silly Joel, they have joysticks." And then you get out of the rover, and the camera is fixated on a fucking shuttle. And like the landing pod, and I was like, "Yo, that's so cool." And I get over to the landing pod, and she opens the capsule, And she goes to climb in.
You had to get a helmet.
And he goes, and then she goes, "You're right." And then if she had the hat on for this part for mine, because I didn't know that he takes it from her if it's only one hat. And she just says, "Fuck it." And I picked out a helmet, and she goes, her and Joel go into the landing module, and she starts hitting buttons. And oh my God. He goes, "Wait, hold on. I have one more thing for you." And he hands her this cassette. And all of a sudden you hear fucking July of 1969, you hear in fucking Cape Canaveral, Florida, "We have liftoff in 15:14, and Ellie's face lights up, and and he goes, "Close your eyes when you listen to it," and you watch her for the first time, what feels like forever, Ellie leave the post-apocalyptic world that she knows, and she gets to go to space, and she gets to be bigger than herself, and she gets to go out there and experience what the life could have been that she could have led if she lived in a different time. And I love that she closes her eyes and it shows the light as if she was taking off, and it shows the light as if she was looking at the moon from space. And Joel did that out of love, and he did it because he loved her. And you may never hear him say it, but Joel fucking loved Ellie so goddamn much. And he meant everything to her, and everything that he fucking did was to protect her, no matter how fucking evil and heinous it was. And he just wanted to give her a good birthday. And he listened. He didn't just buy her something. He didn't just find her something. He listened to what she liked and what she cared about. And he did that for her. He took her to the museum for her. He cared about Ellie, and he loved Ellie so. I'm starting to tear up just thinking about it. It's such a it is. I said it in an episode of Atomic Radio Hour. I put the controller down when she got out of the shuttle, and I put my head in my hands and I cried, and I fucking bawled my eyes out, and I sat there and I went, no fucking piece of fiction has ever made me feel like this. And I'm sorry that I'm rambling, Kyle, and I'm kind of just going, but
no, it's all right, go for it.
I've never connected more with a character. I've never played a character that felt as lost as I do at certain times. And I just felt like Ellie, like this is a cliche to say, but I feel like Ellie got me. And I feel like I got Ellie. You know what I mean? Like, I just felt like she had somebody that loved her so much. And like when you're going through his house, you find the pamphlet from that day, and she goes, "That was a fun day." And then you find that pamphlet when you're there. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
just oh fuck.
So
this is
that
the
scene
best part
with
of the
her
game.
closing her eyes.
Yeah.
That also happens in Left Behind.
Really?
Where you're playing an arcade cabinet, no power, and Riley's like, "Here, I'm going to explain it to you." And it's like, "Oh, knives come out and stuff like that. Hit left, up, down." And you're like hitting left, and you can see like the sparkling of the arcade machine go on your face as you're like getting through it, stuff like that.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Yep. I fucking this is my favorite part of the game. I'll play 20 hours of Abby just to play this again. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. It's so fucking, it just
But yeah, so you get out, you get a pin, and then you continue on. You want to go see the rest of it.
I'm sorry, excuse me. That's the fucking part that gets me every time. I couldn't even think of it. I'm sorry to cut you off. You play fucking 9 hours at this point, maybe a little less, of you looking at Ellie's backpack, and it's more or less the same backpack with that one pin. Some of the other pins fell off, but the entire time you have that spaceship backpack on there. And when you get out, Joel goes, "Welcome back to Earth." And I fucking sob like a bitch. Like a fucking... The last time I played that part, I remember I was like, I can't play anymore today. That's how hurt I was. And then my dumbass is looking up fucking Future Days played by Joel, like on YouTube. And I'm sitting there crying going, if I ever were to lose you
know that's a Pearl Jam song?
Yeah, I fucking hate Pearl Jam. The game did the impossible and made me care about Pearl Jam.
So about that song too, a lot of people were like, "Oh, that song didn't come out when the apocalypse ended. It was like a year or a couple months after." And I think Neil Drunkman said there was a leaked live concert a month or so pre-outbreak in the real world of that time.
No
like
fucking
that
way.
Yeah. So Joel
it says
seen it.
It says 2 weeks. It says that over 2 weeks, Pearl Jam released their Lightning Bolt album on October 11th, 2013.
Yep, it was a leaked live show of that song.
Really?
So he's like, yeah, Joel probably seen on like YouTube or something.
No shit. Hold on, I want to see what day is Outbreak Day. September 26th is Outbreak Day. That album didn't come out till October 11th.
Yep.
Huh. No fucking way.
Did you find the palette?
The what?
The palette.
What palette?
So after that scene.
Yeah, but hold on, real quick, before we get to the palette. Record Source could have already had that. You know what I mean? Like, they ship shit out early.
True.
You know what I mean? But, yeah, when you leave that part of the museum.
Yeah.
And then you find the palette, and she's like, "Hey, Joel," because she jumps off the thing. She wants to see more of the museum. She's like, "Hey, Joel, I got a palette," and he's like, "Yeah, those days are long behind us." And then you go through the other part of the museum, and you see that the fireflies were there.
It was creepy.
Yeah,
because it was all dark, and it was just you. While Joel looked around, you find one of them's like, I forgot what they were saying about like all the people that this person they killed. Like, oh, we locked them in the back of a truck and lit it on fire, or like that person was just trying to get food. One
of them was like, the last camp that I slaughtered, half of them were kids or something like that. Like, the fireflies really fucking went through it once it collapsed.
Yeah, and like you find a note of like, I thought coming back here would give me good memories, but it doesn't matter anymore. And like you killed himself, and then you get hit by a boar, and then your flashlight's over to the left, and like Joe comes in, and like there's a door out, and you both look at it, and you just see the firefly symbol,
and it says liar,
or
liars or something like that.
And it's like, at this point, I think Ellie thinks like. Because I don't think Joel ever really told her.
She has to find it out herself.
Yeah. So she's kind of been in like... Because all Joel said at the end of games like, oh, they had other people. They had other immune people.
Yeah, he says there's like half a dozen other immune. Fuck, that fucking space. I want to see if I could find somebody on Etsy making those pins.
Making those pins? Probably.
And then we get back into the story of Ellie and Dina in Seattle. Day 2 is eventful, but it's not super story driven. Other than Dina's pregnant, or not that it's not super story driven. Let me rephrase that. Nothing. It feels like a lot of just moving forward. You're just trying to get to the hospital at this point.
Yeah.
Right. For day 2.
Yes.
And then you find out that Jesse followed you. Jesse starts helping out. So day 2, you leave the Cassandra Theater. And Ellie has a lead. And that's a line that I want to bring up because it's brought up later. If it's not this part, it's day 3 before day 3 starts. She goes, "You're really going to..." Dina says to Ellie, she's like, "You're really going to leave?" She goes, "I have a lead. I can't not take the lead." I don't exactly remember which day it is, but she leaves the Cassandra and she starts heading down fucking Highway 5. I don't remember why I remember that. And that's where that tattoo parlor and the garage that I was saying about before, Hillcrest, thank you. And as you continue forward, this is like a lot of combat. It's not, what do you call it? It's not enjoyable because it's not like a ton of plot development. You know what I mean? Like there's plot development, don't get me wrong. Like you see an explosion happening in the distance and you're like, I hope that's not Tommy. And if it is Tommy, I hope he's okay. But this is where Jesse shows up. And the part with Jesse when he shows up, which is fucking... The part at Hillcrest, it's super fucking long, too, which is great. But there's a part at Hillcrest where you're, like, going through this suburb, and it just doesn't end. Like, in the best way possible. It just keeps going.
It's also a great, like, background story, too.
What do you
because
mean?
you learn like there's a girl who sprayed paint in one of the wolves thing. It's like screw the wolves.
Yeah.
And her father, and she gets killed by them. They execute her. Then the father of that girl was like, "I'm going to kill them," and try to. I think killed one of them, stuff like that. And then like all the neighboring people are like, "Well, we don't want to die, so we're going to rat him out."
Yeah.
And in doing so, he poisoned all the residents there, locked them in a garage, and like got bit by one of them. So he got infected, but he's like, I hope they're rot.
And he's a shambler.
You can find the garage.
Yeah. That's where you find the arrows, isn't it? Is it not? That's where you find the bow.
Not you find it on him because you.
Yeah.
I later found out he was the bow guy.
Yeah.
So.
That you find like the picture drawn of him and everything.
Yeah.
And then after you get through that, there's a truck coming that's a WLF truck, and then you get like grabbed and Ellie's like trying to fight, and you can hear.
Hold on, we got to talk about this first.
What?
I hate the dogs in this game.
Oh shit! Okay, tell me why.
Because this is where you get the dogs. Because I like stealth, and it's already hard enough. Like trying to crouch and try to move and stuff like that between these things and not letting them see you. Dogs just screw everything up because they get descent and you have to crouch fast and away very fast, trying to avoid everybody else so they can descend or try to throw something. And if you don't got something to throw, you're kind of screwed. You gotta run.
And they show you what's it called? They show you
your scent pathway.
Yes, thank you. I don't know why I fucking couldn't figure that out. Yeah, and I like that, like, later on, you get to see some of the dogs that you wound up killing. They show up, and they're fucking awful, and what I really like is if you can kill the dog before you kill the guy, like, if the dog, like, runs off and you shoot the dog, the guy will find, whatever WLF soldier finds the dog and be like, oh, no, not Ralphie, and, like, they'll just pet Ralphie and be like, oh, no, boy, and they'll be like, we got company, and then, like, if you can shoot the owner of the dog or whoever's watching the dog will go and like whimper that like the guy died. Yeah. Like
this is a game that made me felt bad for killing people.
Really?
Yeah, because I went through and like these guys are probably not bad. They're just doing what they can in this place. You know what I mean? Like when you play as Abby, you see these people.
Yeah,
and like they have a society. They're doing whatever they can. Stuff like that.
See,
they're more military, but like still, like they're not really bad guys, and some of them might be, but like they're just doing a patrol. Some of them,
I never felt bad about killing them, but I was kind of like, I never felt bad about them because I was trying to look at it from Ellie's point of view, but at the same time, I totally got it. Like I totally got like, oh fuck, like when you see the WLF headquarters, I'm like, oh, you got to be kidding me. Like, these people have schools and civilization. Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? But at the same time, I wasn't, like, heartbroken.
Some of them are pretty bad, but, like, at the same time, it's like, you don't know. That whole thing about this game is, like, you don't know the other side.
Yeah. This game is, like, just perspective the game. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, like...
Yeah.
So, hold on. Jesse shows up, and one of the coolest parts with Jesse is you steal a WLF truck, and as that's going on, another truck shows up. You, like, ram into dudes, and then a bunch of runners and other infected are charging at you, and there's one that, like, a clicker, like, gets on the hood and is, like, clawing at you. You have to, like, shoot it in the face. I know I have a clip of that, because I remember restarting it just to record it. So if my recordings worked, which I don't know why they wouldn't, but if they didn't, and they're here... They're here.
Picture in your mind.
Yeah. And you wind up getting through day 2. You get back to the Cassandra, and when you get back, there's a scene right before the flashback starts of Dina like, oh, Jesse, you're here? And she, like, sits him down and takes his boots off and shit, and Ellie's visibly jealous. Like, she's got knots in her stomach that this is happening. And she walks off, and it flashbacks to Joel and Ellie at a hotel. Like, it's them going... Well, it's actually Joel and Tommy. And Tommy's teaching her how to snipe, and that when you shoot a gun from such a far distance, it drops, and which is super neat.
3 years. 3 years. Yeah.
This is 3 years difference.
So she's a little bit older. You can kind of see her grow.
Yeah, and she's starting to kind of have a weird resentment for Joel. And then
the best thing about this is you can find the collectibles from the first game, and she's like, "Oh, why is this comic here?" And Tommy's like, "Oh, Joel found one.
Yeah.
He's been reading them."
Yeah.
And it's like, oh my god, it's perfect because you're as Joel collecting them.
Yeah, and I think those are the comics that Ellie now reads. No,
I don't think she reads them anymore.
Oh, no, because I think he does read them because at one point he says something about him reading Ellie's comics or something.
She reads. Yeah.
So you go through you go through this whole kind of backstory of Tommy like saying to Ellie, you gotta kind of, he worries about you. You gotta kind of, and then you watch Ellie and Joel kind of go on this, I guess, adventure. And then they wind up
going to a music shop for new strings.
Yeah, and then they're like, let's cut through this hotel. And they've never been through the hotel before. And when they cut through the hotel, it turns out that it's fucking mega infected. And that's the first time you fight a bloater.
Yeah.
And it's fucking awesome. And Joel fucking destroys it. There's a part where like Ellie gets pinned down and it looks like she's gonna die. And Joel just unloads his shotgun into all of it. Fucking, oh, goddamn. And then it kind of ends.
Yep.
And they find these two kids from Jackson that kind of ran off. And Ellie like kind of breaks at the end and she's like, Joel, why didn't we stay with the Fireflies longer? He's like, do you really think this is the time to talk about this? She's like, yeah. I wanted to ask them so many questions. You took me out of there when the drug, like, she knows something's up.
Yeah, because I think it also sparked because these were two young kids that left, and they're like, we didn't even make it an hour.
Yeah.
And then I think it sparked, like, I could have saved these people.
Yeah, because one of them was a clicker.
Yeah.
She could have, she's like, I could have made it so these people...
Yeah, the guy was a carrot. He's like, I shot her, but I couldn't do it myself.
Yeah. Fuck, I love this game. And then it cuts to day 3.
Yep.
And you get to the hospital day 3. No, do you? No, you've already been to the hospital. I fucking totally...
No, you're going with Jesse. You're going with Jesse to go to hospital, I think. Because, you it's raining, starts to rain. You find a boat and stuff like that.
No, that's when you're going to the aquarium.
Yeah.
So this is day 2. At the end of day 2, sorry everybody. At the end of day 2, you wind up going to the hospital and you find Nora, and she's like, when she pulls the gun on Nora, she's like, if you tell me where she is, I won't kill you. And then
I love what she tells. She's like, do you hear his screams or something like that? And she's like, I hear them all the time.
Yeah, like Ellie freezes.
Nora says like. Yeah, and Nora's like, I also hear them. And she's like, oh, he was a little bitch or something like that.
Yeah, she's like, that bitch got what he deserves. And like, I was like, you fucking, even on my second playthrough, I was like, you fucking troglodyte. Like, don't talk about my Joel like that. And like, when you chase her through the hospital and then you fall into the spores, like, you really see how evil Ellie has become. Like, yeah. She's like, I'm gonna die anyway. Why would I tell you anything? And she's like, because if you make this quick, I will end you fast. If not, I will torture you. And
Nora's stuck on like a side of a door, coughing and stuff like that. And Ellie just walks in, barricades the door, and walks over to her.
Yeah, and fucking how powerful is it when it shows you the perspective of Nora, and you're looking. And Ellie's looking down at you, and it's like hit square, and you fucking crack her in the mouth with the pipe. And then like you can kind of sit there and breathe in and like listen and look at what you're doing, and then fucking backhand her like Andre fucking Agassi with that pipe, and fucking break her jaw in 6 more places. And then that third strike just goes to black, and she's back at the Cassandra. Then
she's back in the front, and it focuses on her hand shaking.
Yeah. Which hand was that? It was her right hand.
I think it's the right hand. Yeah.
And then, sorry that we had to jump back and forth. You get to day 3. You're playing as Ellie and Joel, or Ellie and Jesse, going through going through Seattle once again to get to the aquarium.
It's raining. You see Seattle's like half of Seattle's flooded.
Oh, how fucking cool is that? The art direction for this game is amazing. The idea of like a flooded out, washed out Seattle is a fucking brilliant idea, and I love every goddamn second of it. Seattle's one of those cities I'd love to visit.
Yeah.
Sorry, go on.
Yeah, it would be cool. But you get to a point where it's like you're going to steal a boat, but you overhear some guards like, oh, there's somebody over here sniping and stuff like that. And Jesse's like, that's Tommy. We gotta go. And you see Ellie's like, no, I'm going for them. Because you find out that they're located, there's an aquarium you have to get to.
And then you also fucking, like in that moment where she's like, before the moment when you hear that where Tommy is, Jesse's like, we have to just save Tommy and go home. You know that, right? Like, we're outnumbered. Dina's pregnant and she's sick. We don't need to lose more people. And she's like, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. She needs to be home. And then he's like, come on, we're going to go this way to get Tommy. And she's like, but Abby's at the aquarium. And he looks at her, he goes, I really hope you survive. And just walks away.
Yeah.
And that's it. Just fucking leaves. Like, at this point, he's like, I gotta go save my woman and my unborn child and this guy who I looked up to because I looked up to his brother. Like, and then you steal that boat, and it's that arcade scene when you steal the boat. You steal the boat and you're riding through. I think the idea of riding through the streets of Seattle and it's all washed out, and you get to that arcade and you fight that bloater. That's the fucking. It's such a cool fight too.
It is.
And then
like rope physics are also amazing in this.
Did you say
there's also that thing of like there's somebody throwing the ropes and stuff and like tightening like all the physics of it.
Yeah, there's a puzzle.
Yeah.
There's a puzzle I want to say on day 2 for Ellie that it took me fucking 15 minutes to figure out of like how you have to throw the rope. And like you have to get into another part of a building and you have to like jump out of the building and climb up. It's really fucking whoever coded the fucking rope alone, I hope they get a raise.
Yeah, you're going through with the boat.
Sorry,
you run into scars and stuff like that.
Yeah. How there's a scene where the Seraphites and the WLF are fighting each other, and you can just fucking breeze through and not see any of it, or you can get out and fight.
We never talked about it, but
sorry.
You go through a park. I don't know if I think it's but you go through the park.
Oh my god!
And you hear the whistle. You hear, and you get a boat through your right side, your
shoulder.
Chest.
Yeah.
And you just hear whistling, and you meet for the first time the Seraphs, the Scars, and all they do when like somebody gets killed, they whistle.
Yeah, and that's so neat to think about. That like they don't communicate. They whistle at each other. Like they still speak English and whatever. And like the other day I was at my house and fucking something was like moving around in the woods. And you know when you can like hear something in the woods but you can't see it? I started going like I was like not that I'm fucking a world-class whistler, but my brother comes over to me, he's like, what are you, a Seraphite? Like what are you trying to alert somebody? Like that's another thing. Like
they also have there's another like park area and they have a guy hung up and they're like, tell us where he is, and you just see them. You can kill them before him, but like if you watch, they start to gut the one guy like they did in the TV station.
Really?
And hang him up, yeah.
See, I tried to shoot him with an explosive arrow because there was like 4 people around him, and the arrow goes through him.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. I don't know how we fucking skipped the Seraphites. They're the best fucking... They're so underutilized. Like, I hope the DLC is about them.
There is no DLC.
They said there's no DLC?
Yeah, there's no DLC.
No fucking way. Really?
Yep.
What about the online? Were we getting online eventually?
We'll probably get online eventually.
But no DLC?
No DLC.
Fuck. Shit. Alright, where were we?
Heading to the aquarium.
To the aquarium. She will not fucking give up. The boat capsizes, and she's like, I'm not fucking stopping. And she gets to the aquarium, she sneaks in, there's a hallway that you go down, and this dog just jumps at you. And
it jumps at you.
Sorry?
No, there's no one here either.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, you get in, there's this dog that comes after you, you stab it, you kill it, and Ellie stands up and is like, stupid dog.
Yeah, and then you can go in there and you find Owen Moore's Firefly tag, his like dog tag, and then you kind of turn one corner and there's Owen and Mel arguing. And he's like, what the fuck is your problem? Abby would go back for you. We got to go back for her. And Mel's like, I'm not doing that. I want to leave. We got to get out of here. The storm is going to get worse. And he's like, you don't know what you're talking about. And then Ellie's like, gun, show me on the fucking map where she is, and I will let you live. And Owen's like, why should we give anybody up? You're fucking that girl from Wyoming, this and that. And she's like, you come here, point on the map, and it better fucking match. And Owen tries to grab the gun, and she fucking blasts the gun into Owen's stomach. And you hear Mel going, oh God, no, Owen. And then Mel goes and takes a knife and fucking, as she takes the knife to Ellie, she flips the knife around and stabs Mel in the neck. Like right in the fucking trachea. And she drops. And fucking she runs back over to Owen, and she's got the map still in her hand. Like nothing phased her. She picks the map back up, runs over with the gun. She's like, where is Abby on the map? Fucking circle it. And he's like, like pointing over at Mel.
Well, he says she's.
Oh,
and
does
you
he?
Can very slightly hear it. Says pregnant.
Really?
Yeah.
I never heard him say that. I just saw him gesture towards her. But what I thought was super fucking gangster is she throws the gun in his neck. And she's like, where the fuck is she? And then she goes over and she undoes her jacket, and Mel's like 8-9 months pregnant. And
yep. And then that same like weird audio happens, and you see her have like a panic attack.
I think she throws up.
She almost throws up. She doesn't get that far.
Yeah. And then there's Jesse and Tommy. And then there's another flashback after that of Ellie went back to St. Mary's. It is St. Mary's, right?
Yeah, I think so.
She goes back to St. Mary's to go check out what had happened. And you get to play as Ellie walking through... St. Mary's, and she turns the corner, and she's in the room where she was supposed to be operated on, and you see that there's nothing left, but there's a bunch of supplies that are just still there. It is St. Mary's. And she goes to this one duffel bag and pulls out a tape recorder, and it's saying, like, the girl's gone. She was the last hope for humanity. And now...
Yeah, the only person that can do this is dead.
Yeah. And then Joel's like, Ellie, girl, where was you?
There's no one else.
And she's like, what the fuck happened here? Stop lying to me. If you lie to me again, you and I are done. We're done. But if you tell me the truth, I'll come back to Jackson. And he's like, Ellie, I did what I thought was right. And she like has a panic attack there.
Yeah.
And he's like, and she's like, you fucking piece of shit. And then she just kind of rides back to Jackson. And then the next thing...
she's like, I'm going back, but we're done.
Yeah. And then you wake up as Abby. And then you start part 2 of the game.
No, what? Hold on.
What?
You don't wake up as Abby. You're in the theater.
Oh, I'm a fucking
with Joel
idiot. You're
Jesse.
right. With Jess and Tommy. And she wakes up.
You hear, Tommy goes off, and you're with Jesse, and you hear a noise, and you and Jesse run through the doors. Jesse gets blown in the head with a bullet.
He's just dead. He just dies in front of you.
And you're there, and Abby's standing over Tommy.
Yeah.
And she's like, throw your guns, and Allie's like, I know why you killed Joe. I'm the reason why you don't have a cure. And Abby's like, you killed my friend.
I let you live.
Gave you a chance to live.
Yeah.
And then it cuts to black, and then you wake up as Abby.
And then you get to see what the WLF is.
Yeah. And it's so, like, you wake up and you're in this whole big stadium that's like, houses and stuff like that. Everybody has a job. And you're going through, you see the guy that you killed, the first guy with the scar, and you're, like, talking to him. But yeah, you see everybody and stuff like that. Just, like, surviving, having food, eating, stuff like that. And it's very interesting. And then you talk about it, too, like, to, what's his name?
To Manny. The Spanish guy.
Manny, like, oh, Joe, like, we all had different things on Joe's death, and, like, talking about Mel. Mel's a medic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It hurt her in a weird way. I'm actually, I looked up on Google football in Seattle. It's most likely based off of the Seahawks stadium.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at it now, and it looks just fucking like it.
Yeah, a guy I watched who was playing through this, he's a big Seahawks fan. He's like, oh my god, this is whatever stadium he's going.
No way! There's a baseball field right... You know, the Seattle Mariners is fucking, like, partially owned by Nintendo.
Huh.
The baseball team which is... makes sense, because baseball's huge in Japan, and... Yeah. The flights from Japan on the west coast of the U.S. are way cheaper than the East Coast. But, yeah, I like shit like that. I like Diamond City. You know what I mean? Like, I like the reappropriation of these places. But, like, the football field, they have cows and goats and pigs. They have yards for... And everything's automated, which is fucking, like... You check out the dog, and when you want to get a weapon, you sign out a weapon. That's not your weapon. Like, it might be your weapon, but it's not yours. Yeah. And then, like, your car, like, they're like, oh, what cars are in? They're like, oh, I'll take S42 or S24. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then, like, there's this constant sexual tension between Abby and Owen, and it gets explained later on from the time they were kids. They were kind of always into each other, and... Later on, it gets explored more and more and more and whatnot. But, so, just to kind of get through the Abby part, you leave, and Mel and Abby don't get along. They never really did. She kind of feels like Mel stole Owen from her. I think Abby has some kind of, like, abandonment issues that probably stem from her dad dying. And Manny's probably, like, the best friend that she has, more or less, at this point. And she leaves to go take care of the situation they have to take care of, which is just go check other things out, basic WLF shit. At this point, they don't know that Ellie is even there.
Yeah. We should also talk about Abby's jacked.
Abby's fucking, yeah.
Which a lot of people had problems about.
And I don't understand.
This is a real body type.
Yeah, they're like, this is an unrealistic, like, just because she's not fucking, like... what's the fucking classic, like 32 14 32, like an hourglass, just because she's not fucking Lara Croft and she's Zarya from Overwatch, you know what I mean? Like, I don't get the problem.
Plus, it also story-wise made sense of like why she was, because she wanted to train to get to that point of finding Joel.
Yeah. And also, I was told early on that there's a trans character in the game. And I didn't know who the trans character was until, like, fucking before they told me, pretty much. But I thought it was going to be Abby because she was very masculine, and I thought it was going to be that when her father died, he was synthesizing some sort of hormonal treatment for her, or to go from male to female, and now that her dad can't synthesize that, it had changed, and now she's becoming more masculine, where she felt more comfortable being more feminine. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I thought that was going to be another plot. I didn't realize that we were going to be introduced to a character later that was going to be such a major minor character. I didn't think that was going to show up. You know what I mean? In that capacity.
Yeah.
But you go out, you get attacked by Seraphites, and you kind of get launched into this world of Seattle that you're somewhat familiar with, but not this side of it. And you're trying to get to the FOB, which is like the base of operations. And as you get closer and closer, more and more shit happens. That's just more kind of WLF stuff. They kind of explain like who they are. There's an ambush at a gas station that's fucking awesome, where the WLF shows up in these Humvees, and like your Humvee crashes, and then you fucking have a flashback to find out that Abby's father, Jerry, was the head scientist that Joel killed in the end of The Last of Us 1 to get Ellie back. And you find out that the reason why Abby kills Joel is because she feels like she was robbed of her father, so she goes after this man. She later left the Fireflies to join the WLF, and Isaac, the head of the WLF, lets them kind of go on this mission to go exact revenge. How did you feel about Abby, finding out more about Abby, that she was that she was the daughter? Like, did that catch you by surprise, of the scientist?
A little bit.
Yeah.
I liked it. I know people were like, "Oh, that's a cop out." It's like, but again, it's like you never knew these characters that you kill.
Yeah, there was one post that I saw on Reddit that was like, how come Jerry in The Last of Us 1 is black and in this one he's white? And they showed like a screenshot of the end of The Last of Us 1 and it was like, I don't know, maybe because they fucking didn't think they were going to make a second one? Like, yeah. I don't think this game should be called The Last of Us Part 2. I think it should be called The Last of Us The Epilogue. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, even the way this ends, it could have just been like the epilogue of the story. We didn't need this. The Last of Us, that's what's so crazy about this. We didn't need we didn't need a Last of Us Part 2. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The Last of Us 1 could have ended and it would have been fine. The ending isn't great for The Last of Us 1, which you and I needed to have a conversation about regardless. I thought it was vastly different from what it actually was, but like, you know what I mean? Like, this game doesn't need to exist, and not because, oh, game bad, politics, Neil Cuckman. No, the game just didn't need to exist. The story ended fine. It was a fucking, it hurt, and it left it ambiguous, yeah, but, like, fucking use your imagination, right? Fanfic. But I like that there was this, I was just actually saying to Chris, who we play Atomic Tabletop with, if you're writing a character, in my opinion, if you can't write your character's motive down in 1 or 2 words, you're thinking too much about it. So both Abby and Ellie have the same character motive. Yeah. Revenge. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like, oh, they're hurt a little bit and they want to do X, Y, Z. No, it's revenge. Dina is comfort. Tommy, revenge. Jesse, implied revenge because he says he's like, I looked up to Joel. You know what I mean? So it's not like he's totally like, I want this revenge, because he even says at the one point, like, I'm going home. He's more of comfort than anything else. Support, that's the word I'm looking for, not fucking implied revenge. Support. All of the people, the WLF that Abby travels with, again, support. You know what I mean? Like, these are they're not super fleshed out, and I didn't feel a whole lot like when Manny dies or when fucking Nora dies, especially when they show it back, because I wasn't supposed to like these characters. Yeah. But I understood them. You know what I mean? Like, that's the difference with the end game, the last, I guess, from, like, if you're gonna say from Ellie, from the beginning of the game to when you're done playing as Ellie, if that's the first 40%, the next 40%, I enjoyed it. And like I said before, the Abby parts are maybe a tad too long, but I understood it. Like, I wasn't like, to be completely honest, I'm having a harder time recalling most of the plot of Abby's side that wasn't cutscenes, but also I just finished playing all of Ellie's part, so I don't have that much replaying it. So I played it twice. Same. So I played Ellie's part twice, and I've only played Abby's part once, but also I'm there for Ellie, but I can understand and appreciate hearing somebody else's story. Yeah. You know what I mean? So just to kind of speed this through, because we've been going on for a while, you learn about all these people that haven't impacted Ellie Abby. And that's another thing that I think they try to draw upon the two character similarities. Their names are very similar. Abby is with a Y and Ellie is with an IE. Abby, Ellie, it's one syllable. You know what I mean? Like, it's very, like... they're kind of like
Jerry.
Same, like, it's a very... Like, these names are probably picked on purpose. You know what I'm saying? Like, just kind of this whole fucking... You move through the story, and eventually Abby and Owen are kind of together at a weird part about 3... And whenever the game jumps back 4 years for Ellie, it jumps back 4 years for Abby. So at one point, you find out that about 4 years ago, from when the story takes place, that Owen and Abby left St. Mary's and went to the WLF, and they just joined, and they're on this Ferris wheel that's this big focal point of where you got to go. And at this Ferris wheel, they jump off, and I've never played a character who was afraid of heights. ever.
Yeah.
And it's such a cool fucking feature. And this game does really, really well at showing panic attacks, showing PTSD, showing little things like being afraid of heights. And she's afraid to be on there. And she jumps into the water to be with Owen. And he's like, I want to show you this. And they take her to an aquarium. Like, and also, something that you might not have noticed is the first flashback when Ellie jumps off the dinosaur, Abby jumps off the Ferris wheel.
Yeah.
Like, Ellie's jumping because she's having fun, where Abby's jumping because she's afraid. Like, there's these parallels that constantly happen. So Owen shows her this. They find a boat in, like, the Shamu section, like the splash zone. I don't know what to call it. And they... Later on, Owen wants to fix the boat up, but Owen kind of questions what the Fireflies are. You know what I mean? He's like, were we the good guys? Like, were we doing what was right? Or, like, without saying it, was Joel right? And she's like, watch what you're fucking saying, this and that. We were doing the right thing. We were the good guys, yada, yada, da-da-da, whatever the fuck. And, like, you just kind of... They split up eventually. And, like, when she goes there around Christmas, they're playing that archery game where they're shooting. Like, that was really fun. I played it, like, twice in a row just because I was like, there's an achievement for it, too. And then, like, I think that's when he like, in all these flashbacks, and as you're doing things with Ellie, when you do them as Abby, it's either, like, the day before or the day after. So, like, the day before you get to the hospital, Abby's there already. And, like, when you go into the basement, you'll hear one of the guys go, why are the lights on? Or why is the power on down here? And that's because as Ellie, you turn the power on. I'm sorry. When you're Ellie, you turn the power. The guy goes, why is the power on? When you're there the day before as Abby, you have to turn the power on to get through the doors. And then the Rat King is that big, monstrous, fucking master from Fallout 3 looking thing.
I looked it up. That's 3 people tied together in motion capture.
Really?
Yeah.
No fucking way. Well, I forget where I read it, but that is most likely the first person to be infected in Seattle. And they kind of just mutated and grew other people into them. And that fight, dude, I was playing on normal and had to redo it at least 8 times. That part is so satisfying. And then, like, you crawl through the ambulance. And all this leads up to... Am I missing anything? Am I forgetting anything?
No, I think you're good. It's just... The whole thing was, if we're getting to it...
fucking Lev and Yara. So, sorry.
Abby and Lev are... You'll start to see it, but they're, at this point, Joe and Ellie from the first game.
Okay, hold on. Let's back up a little bit.
All right.
There's a point where Abby gets captured, and they know that she's... Abby's, like, addicted to killing, and I don't think it's talked about enough, but if you kind of, like, read into everything, she enjoys the act of killing. Like, she's known as one of the top Scar killers. Like, she's known to be good at that, and the Seraphites know who she is. And when the Seraphites capture her, they're like, we fucking got him.
That's cutscene is so...
right?
They're tying her up and...
Yeah, they tie her up, and I'm like... Part of me... I remember playing that going, fuck, I care because I upgraded her, and, like, not letting myself care because it's fucking a character I'm playing as. And I'm like... Is she really about to fucking die here? Like, is this really how it's gonna happen? Like, is Ellie just gonna get cucked and find the body? Like, what the fuck? And all of a sudden, fucking Seraph...
They break Yara's arm.
Oh, I forgot about that. Fuck, sorry. Yeah, they start fighting. The Seraphites have this woman who later you find out her name is Yara, and she's like, I don't remember if she spits in their face or she's like, go fuck yourself. And she takes this head Seraphite who's in charge of this hanging, goes, clip her wings, and they fucking take a hammer and they bash in her fucking elbows. And, like, destroy her one arm. And then as they're about to do the other one, you hear... And fucking this little kid jumps out. This little boy, who you later find out is Lev, he's like fucking killing him with these arrows, and then they cut down Abby because Abby saves Yara in some capacity, right?
She chokes her with her legs, the head Seraphite.
The head Seraphite, yeah.
By being hung. She's like still hung, but like choking her to death.
Yeah. So here's the first lesson of redemption. Yara, who is a Seraphite, says, cut her down, she saved my life. Lev is hesitant, cuts her down. That run in the forest at night is fucking amazing, where everything is lit by Lev's torch. And like you have no weapons on, you have nothing. You're fighting through, and then some fucking big woman with a death ice pick just shows the fuck up and is wearing her backpack. And she even goes, "Are you fucking wearing my backpack?" And you beat the shit out of her and take her shit, and you take your shit back. And then you try to help Yara, and she's like, "I'm leaving." Abby's like, "I'm leaving," and she's like, "All right." And Lev's like, "All right, thanks, fuck you, bye." And you wind up taking like Lev. You feel bad when you meet up with Manny, and you're like, I have to go back. And you go back to save them, and you kind of like take Lev and Yara under your wing. You take them back to the aquarium, and she's like, we need to fucking fix this. Her arms are destroyed, and the one arm has, I don't remember the name for it, but it's when the bone splinters. And she's like, we need to cut the arm off, and we need to go get a kit. So they wind up... Wait, is this when she goes to the hospital? So this is when Abby gets to the hospital at this point. And she steals this kit, brings it back to the aquarium. That's where the Rat King is. Brings it back to the aquarium. They fix up her arm, and then Lev's like, they hear that because of the storm coming in, because that's a big thing throughout the whole thing. You play during the storm as Ellie, then you hear about the storm coming in a future reference as Abby, and then the storm actually hits. And as the storm's hitting, you find out that the wolves are going to attack the Seraphites. And they're going to try to wipe them all out. There was this huge thing that there was supposed to be a truce, and then some kids got shot, and Abby's like, fuck the scars, they deserve it, they shouldn't have been shooting our people. And Mandy's kind of like, yeah, but they were kids. And she's like, well, blood is on everybody's hands, it's nobody's right. And he's like, I don't know about that one. But Lev's like, I need to go back and find my mom. It turns out Lev shaved his head because Lev was originally born as Lily. Lev didn't feel comfortable being Lily, shaved his head to be more comfortable in his own skin, and he was kind of shunned to the point where some of the Seraphites will refer to him as Lily, and you have to fucking climb with Lev and Abby this skyscraper that they have like a hidden passageway to the hospital. You have to climb this fucking like construction beam thing. You remember this?
Yeah.
It's so fucking cool. It's so like, and Abby the whole time is scared of heights.
Yeah, very scared.
And then like you fall off of it, and you fall into a pool. And when I got out of there, the next time I was by something that was high up, I remember looking down because I wanted to see if maybe that conquered her fear of heights. You know what I mean? Like maybe like, oh, maybe this isn't so bad because I just fucking fell off of a skyscraper. But then you get to the island. There's a monster fucking fight going on. You save Lev. You bring Lev back. There's a fucking super cool fight with a dude with a sickle, and you cut his jaws open, his jowls. He's got big flappity lips. And you take Lev back. And there's a point where Lev goes, but these are your people. And Abby goes, you're my people. Yeah. And like right there, I was like, oh, fuck, this is Joel and Ellie in reverse.
Yeah.
That's when it clicked with me. I was like, oh my god, she lost her dad, and now she has this person that she has to, in a sense, be a mother to.
Yeah.
And like, that's where, fucking, they kill Yara. Fucking Yara dies. I remember being like, what the fuck? They fix Yara's arm, and then, They take down Yara, and then you hear the WLF going, it's Abby, stop, everybody, it's Abby. And then Isaac walks up, the head of the WLF, and he's like, and she like stands in front of Lev, and she's like, you're not killing Lev, and I'm leaving. And he's like, Abby, you need to get out of the way, and we could talk about this later. She's like, no, you and I are done. And then Yara fucking shoots Isaac, and then right in front of Lev, they all point their guns down at Yara and fucking light her up. They do to her what OJ allegedly did to his ex-wife. You know what I mean? Like, they fuck her up. And they leave. They go back to the aquarium. Abby gets to the aquarium and finds that Mel and Owen are dead, and that the map is there. She didn't even
go to Mel. She ran right to Owen.
Yeah.
She hated Mel.
She couldn't stand Mel. She felt like Mel took Owen from her. It's not justified, but I understand it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. She finds the map, and they find where Ellie and them are at.
The theater.
And that's kind of where we pick up back where Abby kills Jesse.
And Lev's there. Lev comes with her.
Yeah, well, Tommy grabs the gun from Abby, and Lev shoots him with the arrow, and then you think, oh, Abby just killed Tommy because shoots him in the head. And then you're still playing as Abby chasing Ellie, and there's a whole boss battle between you and Ellie, but you're still Abby.
Yeah, and let me tell you how much that fucking hurt me. I remember playing that going, I considered putting the game down and like walking away and playing it the next day, because I was going, I don't know if I can kill Ellie.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, like I was like, if it gets to a point where I have to kill Ellie, I don't think I want to see the end of this game. Like, I felt so connected, so immersed into her story that I was like, I don't know if I can do this. I do not know if I can go through with this.
Yeah.
And there's a point where Abby starts choking out Ellie, and you can see, this is how good the fucking facial expressions are in this game. You can see the life slowly leaving Ellie's eyes, and you can see her kind of starting to go limp. And I remember like holding like the controller, bringing it closer and closer to my chin, like because it was pressed against my chest, and bringing it closer and closer to my chin, going, no, 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 as I'm spamming square. I'm like, please stop, please don't kill her, please don't kill her, please. And then eventually the entire fight devolves into Dina running in with a knife.
And then freaking Abby grabbing her, bashing her head into the ground, holding the knife against her neck, and then Ellie saying the same thing. No, she's not part of this. She's pregnant. And then you just see Abby go, good. And then Lev comes in and is like, Abby.
That's it. And like, and I love how she just goes, Abby. And she realizes in that moment, like, you're no better than her. Mm-hmm. If you kill her for being pregnant, you are no better than her.
Yep.
And like, that's when I was sitting there going like, holy shit, I really want to play as Ellie. And she's the fucking bad guy.
Yeah.
Like, she's a piece of shit. Like, I get it. I totally get Ellie's story, but she's just not a good person, like, whatsoever at this point. Yep. Like at this point, Abby is better than her.
Yeah. And then, like, she's like, oh, don't let me ever see you again. Abby and Lev leave. And then it cuts to black. And then you're in the farm. You're here crying, and you see Ellie, short hair, and there's a baby. And when I played that, I was like, "This isn't real. I don't think this is real."
You thought it was a dream.
Yeah, and it's just a whole sequence with Dina and Ellie and their child JJ on this farm that Dina wanted to get.
Yeah,
and you do chores, stuff like that. You dance. And you're supposed to put sheep away, and you get into the barn, and there's a little baby sheep kind of scared.
Wait, hold on. Wind back. Sorry to cut you off. There's a scene where you take JJ out to the field, and you sit on an old tractor. Yes. And she calls him her little spud. and it's just kind of like, I thought that's where the game was going to end.
Yeah.
And I was like, there's kind of like a scene
either going to end, or like they're going to get attacked.
Yeah, or you were gonna see like a Humvee roll up, and she says to JJ, she's like, I got a lot of stories I gotta tell you, but that can wait. And like, this starts the epilogue. Like, this is the epilogue of the epilogue.
Yeah.
And then Dina's like, hey, let me take the baby. Go herd the sheep inside. And then,
well, no, she still had the baby.
Not when she went in the barn.
Yeah, she did.
Did she?
Yeah.
Oh, she did. You're right. You're correct. She's like, put the sheep inside.
Yeah.
Because she had the sling.
Yeah, there's a little baby sheep that got out, and it runs by, knocks over like a shell or something, and then you get a flash of Joe dead on the ground. And then like there's like something going on, like the door's shut, stuff like that. and it shows you back in the cellar or the steps heading down to where Joe was, and you just hear Joe screaming like, "Ellie, help me!" And then you can't open the door. And then you wake up and you hear the baby crying, and you just see Ellie like panically having a major panic attack, and Dina's there like, "Ellie, it's all right, you're home."
Yeah. And when I replayed that again, like the beginning when you first run down those steps, during that panicked flashback, the stairs are longer.
Interesting.
So you actually, like, if I interpreted that as her going, if I was quicker, could I have saved him?
Plus the whole, I mean? Joel there going, "Ellie, help me."
And that doesn't happen the first time.
Yeah.
He's not thinking about Ellie because he wouldn't want Ellie to see him like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you remember things in a certain way because of... I once read something that every time you remember something, you're not remembering it itself, you're remembering the last time you remembered it. So... the way your memory works is things change for the better over time because you want it to be better. Like you're writing your own fanfic essentially. And then Tommy's like, "Hey, somebody came," because they don't live in Jackson.
We thought
they live outside of Jackson.
Because he got freaking shot in the face, but he got shot in the side of the head, so you kind of see his eye is all droopy now.
Yeah.
And he's like, I found her. He's like, and you just see Ellie there, like all like looking everywhere and like looking at him and looking at the map. And he's like, "We gotta go get her. I found her. I can't go." He's like, "You have to go. I can't go anymore."
There's actually a part where I read her journal because I always forgot in the flashbacks. Read the journal. And during the flashback, she goes, "Today I had a really good day. Dina's family came over, and I almost didn't think about Seattle once. Almost. Like, it really fucking weighed heavy on her that what she did, and she didn't even finish the job.
Yeah.
She killed everybody but didn't finish the job. And she, there's a part where she's coming back from the river from killing rabbits, and she's having a panic attack, and she just can't deal with it. And that's another thing. Like, they really show mental anguish in such a way I've never seen in a game. I've never played a character that had a panic attack. You know what I mean? I never played a character that had a fear of heights. Abby, every night when she wakes up from a dream of her father dying.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, when you see her wake up in the cabin, she goes... And then when you see her wake up for the first time in when Manny wakes her up in the library, she goes, and he goes, "You good?" And then even Mel brings it up. She's like, "Hey, how are you sleeping?" You know what I mean? Like, I've never played a game where you see these characters that have real fucking issues like this. And if the games are out there, I just haven't played them. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Tommy's there.
Tommy's like, we have to, you have to. And what I love is he goes, I had a guy come through Jackson who was in South California, and he said he met this woman who was fucking built like an ox. He's like, who else is going to look like that running around with a bald kid? Like, you have to go after them. You have to do it.
And Ellie's just sitting there like, all like just looking at everything, not saying nothing. And Dina's like, "We're done with that."
Yeah. And then she goes out and fights with him. And then she just like leaves in the middle of the night. She's like, which I thought was crazy that they had like all the windows open in the middle of the night. Like, runners aren't going to show up. Like, that's how desolate Wyoming is.
Yeah.
And she just kind of packs her shit, and she's like, "Dina, I have to go." She goes, "I don't sleep, I don't eat, and I can't think of anything but this. I just have to finish my fucking job."
And the favorite line is Dina saying, "She's more important to you than us." Or, "Don't let her be more important to you than us."
Why was that your favorite line?
Because just how it's like... It's the whole thing of like, oh, you're going for revenge, stuff like that, you know, like, but like, don't let them be more important than your family.
Yeah.
Because she's going to leave and she's like, "I can't do this again. We're not going to be here. I don't know how long I can live with knowing that you might be dead out there."
Yeah. And then Ellie just goes.
Yep. And then we cut back to Abby in California.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. In California, and she got this lead that there's a base for fireflies, the remnants of the fireflies, and she winds up finding this house, and she sneaks into the house, and she finds a radio, and she's trying to use it, and eventually she gets a signal, and she's like, "Hey, this is Abby," and she like gives her number, her firefly number. She's like, "It's me and my friend Lev, and we're here." and we're ready to help out in any way we can. And they're like, all right, Abby from the Fireflies, or Abby from St. Mary's or something like that. They're like, we're here. We'll find you.
To Catalina Island. That's where we all...
Yeah.
All the fire... We're like 500, I think.
Yeah, and then they leave the house, and the fucking Rattlers punch him in the mouth. Do you think the Rattlers were the Fireflies, or do you think there's actually Fireflies?
No, I think they're actually Fireflies, because, like, it was too quick, but at the same time, the people on the radio knew about, like, St. Mary's and her dad.
Okay.
There was just too much that this person on the radio knew about her. That was also...
So you think the Fireflies are out there?
It's funny, because this game's filled with, like, a lot of cast members of Critical Role. That was Liam O'Brien that was on the radio.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and the big guy with the glasses and stuff like that is actually Travis Willingham.
Fat Geralt?
No.
The Rattler?
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah, there's a green screen I saw of when he punches Abby. It's a green screen of, they call him Fat Geralt, punching, so you can green screen it in.
Yeah. So they get captured.
And then it goes back to Ellie.
Oh my god, you can see on Ellie, she's just skin and bones.
There's nothing.
There's nothing
she doesn't
on
eat.
her.
She doesn't eat, she doesn't sleep. And she's going through like these expensive fucking homes.
Yeah.
There's a really cool stalker fight in there. And then you pick up, which I thought was so cool. She gets caught in a trap and she's upside down.
She gets hurt.
Yeah,
a fucking gigantic tree branch just pierces her side.
Yeah,
and you're just there.
Yeah, she's hanging there, and she's like, she starts like kind of she passes out, and she wakes up, and she goes, Abby, love, I found you. Abby, I found you.
And it's
Abby.
Fat Geralt.
And then like, and it's Fat Geralt.
Did you know
some little guy?
The other little guy is actually what's the rapper's name?
Thank you, Ice-T?
Logic.
Get the fuck out of here.
That was Logic.
No fucking way.
Yeah. I remember they were in the morph suits one day with Travis, and they like posted the photo, and then I read it. I think it's in the credits or something like that. That was Logic.
Holy fuck. Wow, I'm surprised because that's the first time I've ever heard Logic go 10 minutes without saying he's biracial. Holy shit, it is. There's a picture of him in I want to say that's Troy Baker?
Travis, probably.
In a mocap suit. Probably, because if it's them together.
Yeah.
Huh, neato. Good, I'm happy that I killed him then, because I fucking can't stand that guy's music after his first album. But I love the way she killed him.
Yeah.
She, like, drew him into the clicker, and he got ate by the clicker, and Fat Geralt, she's like, tell me where they are. And he's like, you're already bit. And the clicker bit Abby again, and she's just
Ellie.
like, good, I don't care. Sorry, Ellie. She's like, I don't give a fuck. I think she kills him. I don't remember.
Yeah, she shoots him like in the chest once.
Yeah. And then she goes to the Rattler compound, and they're like, I want to know more about them. They're fucking like taking people in as slaves. Like, you're seeing people like walk in there,
and you see a guy run out, and they're like, get him. And he's like, I'm not doing this again. He kills himself.
Yeah. And fucking, like, they have clickers just chained up, and you can fucking break the chains and let the clickers go after them. And then there's a point where you find, like, these people that are chained up, and for some reason, they're in a cage, and for some reason they said, let's put the prisoners and the guns right next to each other. That's a bright fucking idea. And Abby lets him out, and they're like, Ellie lets him out, and she's like, where's Abby? And she's like, she's bit, put her down. And the one guy's like, no, don't do that. She let us out. And she's like, where is Abby? I need Abby. And she's like, she's fucking bleeding out. And she's like, she's on the spikes, the pillars, the pikes. She's been there for a while. And she's like, all right. And they all leave. And there's a scene where before you get outside that there's a hallway, and it's a dimly lit hallway. And behind you, all you hear is like,
yeah.
And shit. And like you really unleashed a war, like a mini little war on these Rattlers. And that hallway, when you're walking through there, I remember getting to the door and kind of pausing and putting the controller down and being like, I don't know if I want to beat this.
Yeah.
Because I was like, this is going to mean, one, it's going to end, and two, what if she kills Ellie? Like, I don't know if I can play the game ever again, let alone see what the ending is if I have to play anything else. If that, like, again, I felt like that moment flipped where I had control of Ellie. And you search the beach, and eventually you find Abby, and she's withered away. She has no muscle.
At the first point, like, you saw a girl with, like, a long braid, and you're like, oh, that's Abby, and then it's like...
No.
Nope.
I might have, and I just don't remember, because somebody said the same thing to me before, and I was like, I really don't remember that.
Yeah. Abby is... You learn that Abby's been up there for, like, 3 months, or a couple months.
Really?
And, like, her hair's cut short. She's, like... She doesn't even look like the same character. She's just, like...
She's no muscle. So, like, you see for the first time Abby weak. And not just physically, but, like... emotionally. You know what I mean? Like even when she was crying... Like, it's the only other time you saw her this week is when she cried about her dad dying. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And... she goes, and after Ellie cuts Abby down, they kind of like look at each other, and then she goes and cuts Lev down, and she's like, there's boats over here, and she carries Lev and puts Lev in the boat, and there's 2 boats, and Ellie could take the one boat, and Abby could take the other boat.
She doesn't have a flashback. She's just there, and she walks over.
Walks over to who? Abby?
Abby and pulls her hair.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure she goes to get in the boat. And she has a flashback to Joel.
I know she has a flashback of Joel playing the guitar when she's choking Abby. I might be mistaken.
This is how I remember it. I remember it as she goes to get in the boat and she has that flashback to Joel, and it's just his bloody face from him getting hit with the golf club, like right before he dies.
Yeah.
And she turns around and she goes, I can't let you leave. And she's like, just get out of here. Like, we're even. Don't worry about it. And she's like, no, I can't let you leave. And she's like, are you sure you really want to do this? And Ellie's like, this is why I'm here. And then they just start to fucking duke it out.
Well, before that, Abby doesn't want to fight.
No, Abby's like, we're good.
Yeah, Abby's like, I don't want to fight
Respect.
you. And then Ellie takes her knife, puts it against Lev's throat.
I forgot about that. You're correct. You are correct.
Then Abby's like, he's not a part of this. And Ellie's like, you made him a part of this.
Yeah. In the same way, Ellie had nothing to do with Joel's death, but she made her a part of it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I think you sent me the link, the Girlfriend Reviews.
Yeah.
Which is a series that I don't like follow, but it's a series that whenever I see it get recommended, I'm like, ooh. They take the footage and lay the footage right on top of each other, and they show it of like, these are the parallels. And there's one line that she says in there that says, the game might have 60 different sliders, but there is no slider to say how easy or hard it is to get over things emotionally. Or something like that. Like, I'm paraphrasing it out the ass. But
they also said something about like, something about life doesn't have multiple choices or multiple options or something like that.
Something. I remember that, yeah. But they start fighting, and then there's a part in the fight where Ellie has another flashback to a dying Joel, and she whips out the switchblade again, and she starts cutting up Abby, and it gets to a point where Ellie's holding Abby under the water, and even though I felt for Abby at this point, I understood. This
was a very hard fight because it was so like exhausting, and Train's like, stop, please stop. And then Abby just bites her going. 2 fingers off. And it's like, stop this. And it's kind of funny. Games they did interviews with all the cast, and they did one with Laura Bailey, and they talked about it. And Laura's like, oh, I held my breath at that scene. And then when Ashley was like, oh, I gotta stop this, and like it took, like Laura was turning blue.
Wow, really? So she held her breath to... Sorry?
Yeah, she was holding her breath in that part.
Just to really, like, emphasize...
Yeah, the emotion on the face.
Well, oh my god, that's fucking incredible. And Well, this is she when she bites the fingers off, she's still trying to fucking strangle her, and all of a sudden, Ellie has this flashback to Joel on the porch playing the guitar, and Ellie just kind of gets off and sits down, and she goes, "Go." She goes, "Just go, just get out, just go." And Abby just kind of looks at her and doesn't like. Abby could have killed her. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, Abby could have fucking slit her throat or broken her neck or broken and broken her legs and left her there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And she just kind of looks at her, gets in the boat, and goes. And Ellie just kind of... I don't even remember if she cries. She's just so defeated. And then it just goes black, and it goes to Ellie back at the farm, and she doesn't have those two fingers... And she walks through the house, and Dina packed up and left.
Well, there's a flashback. There's one more flashback.
Wait, is that flashback? No, I thought that Oh, you are correct. I thought that flashback was after the farm. I'm sorry.
Nope. Oh, yes, so, it is. It is.
It is after the farm.
It is. That's
okay,
right.
I thought so. So she packed up the entire house. The records are gone. The only thing that's left is Ellie's art room, where there's all of the paintings of JJ and Dina and the posters of the music that they liked, and there's that old Taylor guitar. And Abby, fucking goddamn it, 2 hours and 40 minutes, and I'm still flipping the names. She grabs the old Taylor guitar, Ellie, and she goes to play Future Days by Pearl Jam. And she can't play the chords because she's missing two fucking fingers.
Yeah, that when I was doing, I'm like,
like this point of the game, I remember not even crying, but my chest just feeling like an elephant was sitting on it, and just being like,
yeah, revenge. God. She did revenge, and she lost everything.
And like, yeah, and she's just like, she lost it all. She lost the ability to play music. Like, she lost everything. She lost every fucking thing she ever held dear to her. And I was thinking about it. It's on her left hand, right?
Mm-hmm.
She can still hold a bow. She can still shoot a bow, because you need whatever hand you use to pull the arrows back is the hand you need, because the middle finger and fuck you comes from the 100-Year War. Shout out to fucking young Heather for this one. She told me this when I was in school. The 100-Year War, which actually lasted like 115 years, archery was like a big thing, and it was whatever side, it was a European war, whatever side had the archery like on their side, what they started doing was they were cutting off the middle fingers of the archers that they had captive and then sending them back. Because if you don't have your middle finger, you can't pull the arrow back.
Mm-hmm.
So what they would do is they would show them their middle finger and say, "I'll pluck you off." And then "I'll pluck you off" became "pluck you," and just the way language evolves, it became "fuck you." So there's your fucking history lesson of the day, but she can still hold a bow. So there's a chance we might get a Last of Us 3. But to watch her try to play that Pearl Jam song again, and that she couldn't do it, fucking killed me. And then it flashes back to the night of the fight that happened, which fucking, I couldn't believe they said what they said in the fight, because Dina and Ellie start dancing together, and Ellie's like, they're all staring at us, and she's like, no, they're staring at you. And they wind up kissing, and the old man who gives you sandwiches in the beginning of the game, and he's like, I'm sorry, I was a dick. He's like, that's the last thing that this town needs is 2 more uppity dykes. And then Joel's like, the fuck did you just say? And is ready to throw hands with this old man. And she like leaves for Joel defending her.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and then she goes, this flashback now, after she tries to play the guitar, is Joel after that, him playing guitar on the porch. You want to tell him what happened?
Yeah, and they start talking about it, and like, Ellie's like, I can take care of myself. And this is also like, we don't know how long it's been since, like, as well.
This is right before the game starts.
Yeah, but we don't also know how long they haven't been really talking.
I'm gonna guess 2 years from when she went to St. Mary's. That's what my guess is, because even in the beginning of the game, when you're in that supermarket with Dina, she's like, "What are you doing tonight?" And she's like, I'm gonna have a movie night with Joel.
Yeah.
So this is like the day after. She's trying to recoup that lost time.
So so they're just talking about it, and then Ellie brings out the whole thing of like, why didn't you let me die there? My life could have mattered.
And that fucking killed me, to sit there and think that Ellie thinks that her life is less than, or doesn't mean as much as the next life, or that she's just an average person.
Because Joel took that choice away.
Because Joel was selfish. Because Joel didn't want to lose his chance at being a dad for the second time. Because Joel realized that under his hardened exterior, he could love, and that he did. And he couldn't take that. He couldn't lose that again. He didn't want to lose who he'd become. If he were to ever lose her, he would surely lose a piece of himself.
Yep. And he also says, he's like, if God would have gave me that day back, I would have did it all over again.
Yeah. And she says to him, she goes, I don't know if I can forgive you right now, and I don't know if I can ever forgive you, but I'm willing to try.
And it breaks him. You can see it breaks him.
Yeah, and you can tell how hurt he is, and you can tell when he leaves and tells Tommy about it that he realizes how selfish he is. Yep. He doesn't like the choice that he's made, but he has to live with that choice, and that's the theme of this game: is you make choices and you have to live with them. And that's The Last of Us 2, the greatest fucking game I've ever played in my entire life.
Well, we gotta also say, like, it then cuts back to her. She puts down the guitar in the house and walks out, and you see her walking out, and it just cuts to black. And
you don't know where she goes. I don't know which way Jackson was. I don't know what is out there.
I think Neil Druckmann said it's up to interpretation that she could be heading back to Jackson or just be a nomad then. And then the best part is you see the main menu screen is different. It's
hold on before we get to that.
Oh.
But no, continue. Sorry.
The sun's coming out. You see a boat on this island, and you see this dome-shaped thing, which I think Neil Druckmann said it was Katarina Island. So she made it to wherever the Fireflies are. Abby.
Oh, son of a bitch. I didn't even put that together that was Abby.
Yeah. I mean, like,
I thought that
the beginning of the game was, the main menu was that boat, and it was dark, rainy, dreary, and then at the end...
yeah.
You know,
but
Abby...
I didn't even think of that.
Yep. Abby's story was a story of redemption.
Yeah. Yeah. See, Abby learned from her mistakes.
Yep.
She learned from her mistakes when...
Revenge.
Yeah. And she learned how revenge is wrong, and she felt okay about it. Where Ellie got revenge and realized that you don't need it. That just because one person got revenge doesn't mean it's going to mean anything for the other person. But also, Ellie probably couldn't have lived with herself if she didn't take that revenge. Yeah. So it was a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation. This is a point, at this point in the game, I remember I was so fucking melancholy that I watched the credits.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I just didn't know what to do. I just sat there and I thought about every person I've ever spoken to. I thought about every relationship I've ever had. I thought about every friend I've ever had. I thought about every fight I'd ever been in. I thought about my entire life. And I sat there and I was like, did I fuck up? Like, did I fuck up somewhere? Like, I thought about anybody that I ever felt... I'm going to bleep this out, Kyle. I was about to call... and be like, I'm fucking sorry. Like, I don't know what I did. I'm obviously a piece of shit.
Oh my
God. But, like, I'm fucking sorry.
Off the tracks.
Like, I genuinely fucking thought about everything that I've ever done in my life. I was like, one time when we were kids, I was a little extra mean to Olive because she ate the last fucking granola bar with the chocolate chips. Like, I thought about every fucking thing. And then, if you watch towards the end of the credits, Joel and Ellie sing a song together.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think I cried, but I think I like teared up, and it hurt because you could tell it was a younger Ellie. It was when they were both like when he was teaching her how to play and how to sing, and like, it just fucking, and then like it shows you the screen, and I just sat there and I was like, I don't know what to do. Yeah. I like didn't know what to do with my life. I didn't know. I immediately started a new game, but like I not immediately, but like I started a new game shortly after. But like I just sat there going, "What the fuck?"
Yep.
Like what the fuck? This is one of my favorite games of all time, if not the best game I've ever played. My top 5 games are fucking Fallout 3, Red Dead Redemption 1, Batman Arkham City, The Last of Us 2, and I don't have a 5th. But
yeah, I also think at the end there too, Joel saved her soul.
Yeah, I'm not one for souls, and I think kind of a religious answer at the end there is somewhat of a cop-out. But I think Joel definitely saved her soul in the sense of,
if she killed Abby, she would have lost everything. Even herself.
I think she would have lost. Yes, exactly. I think she would have lost everything. Went back to, not that she would have known that the farm was going to be empty, but she would have lost everything. Went back to the farm and been like, I feel the same way, and I still lost everything.
Yeah.
Where this, she feels like she still had some sort of power.
Yeah, I also think she forgave Joel after playing that song, and trying to play the guitar and leaving the guitar there.
Oh, you think that's what made her forgive Joel?
Yeah.
I think she forgave Joel when she no longer had flashbacks to him dead. She no longer, because I think she saw Joel in such a negative light that as much as she loved Joel, it would flash back to him dying, because even though he had no control over the situation, I think she kind of blamed him for his death.
Yeah, I can see that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that like in that moment she was like, I had no control over that, but I have control over this. Yeah. And I can sit there and I can bitch and moan about how Joel was, or I can remember Joel for the way he was and I can love him for it.
Yeah.
This is the greatest game I've ever played. And I don't get the hate. I genuinely don't get the hate.
Yeah,
and
a lot of the hate is based off of people who doesn't know what a sad story is, or just seen a leak.
Yeah, they saw the leak and goes, all right, I'm not going to play it. I love this game. I think this game is amazing. And you know what? It's not fucking high art in any sense, but it works. You know what I mean? Like I heard someone saying, "Oh, they used they copped out and used the fucking pregnancy trope." It's parallels.
It was also
the whole thing is parallels.
It was torture porn or something like that. People were calling it too.
Because the apocalypse would be fucking grimy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I could sit here and gush all day long about how much I love this game. We're approaching almost 3 hours, Kyle.
Yeah.
I didn't expect this to go that long. What would you rate this game?
I'd say 9 out of 10.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to give it a 9.5, 9.8, 9.9. Like I said before, I thought Jesse could have been a little more developed. Mm-hmm. And I think some of the Abby parts were a little too long. Other than that, This is a near perfect game. This is the closest thing. It's the closest thing to the most polished game I've ever played. Like, I love the feature of being. We didn't even talk about fucking features we like, and we've been talking for 3 hours. I love.
I can tell you a feature I like. It's called the freaking upgrading a weapon.
Oh my god! How do we not talk about that?
I don't know.
It's so satisfying.
I don't like guns, but like, goddamn, upgrading a weapon
I'm making that my text tone. It's so hard to hear you curse. I'm gonna make you go, God damn, you're my ringtone. Yeah, like you hear the sawing and the fucking bolts and the screws.
Taking the weapons apart, cleaning them, adding stuff on. I recorded a video of it, but I was doing that, and then I heard guards coming. I'm like, oh god. And it's like, you're not safe even at a workbench, because there's also a spot in the game where you go to a workbench and a guy comes up and starts strangling you.
And how fucking awesome is it in that scene? Because when it happened, I switched out to my bottle, smashed the bottle on the dude, grabbed him, put the gun to his head, and then shot the other WLF members that were there. And I don't think I once referred to the WLF as the Wolves. I don't think I once did it. Up until right now. And then when they were all dead, you could put the gun back to their head and blow their brains out on a wall.
Yeah.
It's fucking nuts. I love that when you get shot with a rifle, when you go down, you're on your back.
You're on your back,
yeah. And you can aim on your back, and you could, crawl away. I love the explosive arrows. I love all the contraptions and whatnot that you can make. Kyle, I love this game.
Yeah, it's really fun. The combat is awesome. I had so much supplies because I was stealth the whole time, so I had literally everything.
Yeah, I had and the Molotovs. When you throw a Molotov at someone, the fire looks fucking real.
Yeah,
I don't know if you could mocap fire, but they fucking mocap the fire.
They also fixed throwing a Molotov and actually having clickers run into it and through it than the first game.
Really? I never noticed that.
Yep, that didn't happen. I don't think that happened in the last game.
Huh. Yeah, there was one time where I threw a Molotov, I threw a brick, and a bunch of clickers and runners ran at the brick, and then I threw a Molotov, and I, cleared a bar in seconds.
Yeah.
This is one of my favorite games of all time.
It's good.
I've never felt, and I don't know if I've said this already or not. I might have started saying it, and I cut myself off. I said to Olive, I love that I finally am in love with a game and everybody hates it.
Yeah.
I haven't played a game in years where I was like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
And I think that's really all we can say without we forgot something. It took us that long to get to fucking upgrades. You know what I mean?
There's a lot. And it takes a long time to get them too.
I shot somebody in the throat with an arrow and they went
yeah.
And they gurgled and you could hear the fucking blood pouring out of them. Fucking crazy. Fucking crazy. I want to end it here.
Yep.
Do you want to say anything else before?
If you have a chance to play it, go play it. Because it's different than watching someone play it.
Okay. I mean, yeah, it is always better to play it, but there is also somebody who has comprised all of the cutscenes and all of the important story-driven parts, or gameplay story parts. So not just the fighting, but the actual important parts that you learn through playing. It's a 10-hour video. Someone put it on YouTube. It's everything. The same with The Last of Us 1 and Left Behind. All right, everybody. Thanks for checking this video out. Kyle and I both love The Last of Us a lot. Our intro music was Opening Move by the one, the only Shane Ivers. And if you like any of the music you've ever heard by the man, you can get it at silvermansounds.com/free music. And I want to give a special thank you to anybody who supports us on Patreon. Patreon is not a mandatory thing here. At any Ghoulman Entertainment show, anything that has to do anything with Atomic Radio Hour. But there are some people we have to thank. We have to thank Noah for his continued support, Gage twice for his continued support, once for the Discord that he gives us Nitro, another for the Patreon. We also have to thank Jordan with a Y. Thank you, Jordan with a Y. We also have to thank Danny, so thank you, Danny, and also Marcus. Thank you guys so much. Thanks for sticking around. I know this is a bit of a long video, but it's something that Kyle and I kind of wanted to talk about. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know what you think. Call your grandma. Tell her I said hey. All right. I probably won't play another game that's good till 2035. I think that's everything, Kyle. So, right. May your survival be long, Kyle.
And your death be swift.
A Ghoulman Entertainment production.